or add volume to thinning during Advanced Hair's once yearly summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your very own hair the very next day, and they guarantee your new hair will grow. They are the team that addressed my hair loss, and I recommend them to everyone. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar. Advanced Hair's summer sales event is on for a limited time. So get the details and schedule your free consultation today. 425-449-8185. One-day treatment, life-changing results. With Advanced Hair, your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and make the call now while their summer savings event is still on. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Looking for high-quality assisted living that won't drain your life savings? At Care Partners Living, we offer compassionate care at a price that helps stretch and preserve your estate. No unnecessary luxury, just the support you need with dignity and heart. And if you ever need to convert to Medicaid, you don't have to move. With communities across Washington and Arizona, including new locations in Port Orchard, Sumner, Linwood, and North Creek Bothell, there's a Care Partners community near you. Care Partners Living, compassionate care and peace of mind. Visit carepartnersliving.com.
Get 0% financing for 72 months on Cat compact construction equipment at NC Machinery. Built for performance, durability, and comfort. Buy now and take advantage of 0% financing for 72 months at NC Machinery.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Steve Kathan. A court appearance is next for the man charged with killing a Minnesota state lawmaker and her husband after a massive manhunt resulted in his arrest.
Our law enforcement partners are building a case using facts and evidence to ensure Vance Bolter is held accountable.
Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty says first-degree murder charges will be filed, attempted murder charges too, for the wounding of another lawmaker and his wife. We just heard from President Trump, who's at the G7 summit in Canada, about the strikes exchanged by Israel and Iran over the last several days.
It's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
Iran's news agency says state-run TV abruptly stopped a live broadcast after an Israeli airstrike. Israel reported at least 8 people killed in Iranian missile attacks. Now to New York, where a juror has been dismissed from the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial. CBS's Katrina Kaufman.
He gave some inconsistent statements about where he lives. Originally during voir dire, he said that he lived in the Bronx. Then he recently told someone at the courthouse that he lived in New Jersey. There's also been some inconsistencies about who he's living with. And all of this leads the judge to believe that there's a potential lack of candor here.
The U.S. Supreme Court will hear from a faith-based pregnancy center in New Jersey challenging a state investigation into whether it misled people into thinking its services including referrals for abortion. Legal analyst Jessica Levinson.
It deals with a pregnancy crisis center that's being investigated by New Jersey under New Jersey's consumer fraud law. And essentially, the Attorney General has asked the pregnancy crisis center for certain information. They've issued a subpoena saying, for instance, can we have information about your donors? The pregnancy crisis center responded, we don't want to give that to you. We think the request violates our First Amendment rights.
The UN Refugee Agency said today it's going to cut 3,500 staff jobs, slashing nearly a third of its workforce costs due to a funding shortfall. Now to France and a labor dispute at a major tourist attraction.
Employees at the Louvre complain of understaffing and untenable working conditions in what is the most visited museum in the world. This morning, they simply refuse to open the doors. Some of those issues are to be addressed in a planned renovation, but employees say they can't wait 10 years. Elaine Cobb, CBS News, Paris.
The Dow is up 350 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A mix of peaceful protests and after-hours riots this weekend. We'll tell you more in just a moment. But first, from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Center, we are coming down after our morning commute. I-5 northbound was the biggest issue at the Boeing Access Road near Seattle. It was a long-term investigation that has now cleared, but the backup is stretching all the way down almost to Tukwila at this point. Federal Way to Seattle is about 60 minutes at this point. We have a new issue on I-5 southbound just north of Mercer Street, a collision blocking the left lane there. That is a lighter backup. In Linwood to Seattle is about 32 minutes right now. And also a new issue, 520 eastbound, just west of 84th Avenue Northeast. There's an incident blocking the HOV lane. We are not seeing a big backup. There is a backup getting into Seattle on 520, but the I-90 bridge looks clear. 405 northbound, we're seeing some delays, 50 minutes. That's just volume, and that's backing up onto 167. The Auburn to Renton drive right now, 20 minutes. Tacoma, you're doing great. Keep doing great. This report brought to you by Seattle Sports. You can always listen to your favorite local artist content on the FM dial on 97.3 HD2.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Jillian Raftery. President Donald Trump is directing ICE agents to prioritize raids and deportations in the country's largest liberal-leaning cities. That means the Northwest is a target.
Seattle is on the list of U.S. cities where ICE plans to deploy special response teams. There are reports ICE has flown in plane loads of equipment, including armored vehicles, for agents to carry out more aggressive raids in our area. On social media, Trump says he wants to deliver the single largest mass deportation program in history, 3,000 arrests every day. We're waiting to see if Seattle is one of the liberal-leaning cities Trump is targeting. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Tens of thousands of people across our region took to the streets over the weekend. They protested those ICE raids and pushed back against Trump administration policies. People who were there say daytime protests were almost entirely peaceful. In Seattle, a handful of people were arrested after setting fires near the federal building. After 3 weeks, Travis Decker is still on the run. He's the man accused of killing his 3 daughters after picking them up from their mother's house in Wenatchee for a court-approved visit. Crews believe they've seen signs of Decker's presence in the mountains south of Leavenworth. King County may have almost 500 more homeless people and families than previously thought. A recount using a new respondent-driven sampling method allows unhoused people to participate more directly in the count and is believed to be more accurate. The Center Square puts the new number at 16,868 people experiencing homelessness. Commencement day for Seattle University. Undergraduates have their ceremony at 11 a.m. and graduates at 5 p.m. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. It is going to be partly cloudy today, warming up to 73 degrees. Overnight lows in the 50s. It is 56 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, June 16th. This is the Gee and Ursula Show. What's up, everybody? Good morning, Ursula.
Good morning. 25 years ago, I gave birth to my youngest son. This is a very special day.
Happy birthday, Eric.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day and happy Father's Day to all of you yesterday.
No doubt.
I know you're going to share something special about what happened this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Gave both Chef and I chills as you were describing what you did during a family reunion.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
I think all of us can learn a little something from it.
No doubt.
We're going to share that coming up at 11:30.
That's it.
Okay, but right now we got a lot of news. So I just want to remind you, though, this show is nothing without you, and we like it when you are involved. Our text line is 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. Good morning to all of you also watching us on YouTube.
Hey, Ursula, because I did just come back from family and I was around a lot of the older folks in my family.
Yeah.
I will have less of a filter today.
Oh, okay. Okay,
All right,
thanks for the warning.
Let's
Thank you
get
for the
to it.
warning.
Ursula's top stories of the day brought to you by Bathfitter Northwest.
It was one of the largest protests in Seattle's history. More than 70,000 people came out for the No Kings protest that started at Cal Anderson Park and at the University of Washington at noon on Saturday before ending at Seattle Center.
This is a crowd that we want to see, the energy we want to feel, and the protest that we need to take our country back.
This woman brought her children to the demonstration. They marched shoulder to shoulder with other protesters, filling city streets and rallying against Trump's immigration crackdown.
I want them to see peaceful protest and let them know that this is acceptable. This is how we resist.
On X, Seattle police reported that the line of protesters, get this, was over 1.5 miles long. And police said they had not received a single report of property damage at that time when they posted that on X. And this was one of dozens of No King rallies all around the Puget Sound area and more than 1,000 demonstrations nationwide.
Once again, whenever there has been, Ursula, a mass protest and a bunch of people protesting about a topic, they have never been wrong. They have always been on the right side of history. And, you know, that's where we are right now. We have a lot of people. There is no both sides. There is, here soon, there will be people, a lot, that are on the wrong side of history, and there will be people on the right side of history. Just like in the civil rights movement, just like in the early 1900s, there are people that are literally on the wrong side of history. This is why nobody shows up to your job and says, look, everyone, my grandfather was a Klansman. Nobody brags about that. But you see, the thing is, Ursula, you can't hide it anymore like you used to. You can just hide the Klan outfit in the chest downstairs in the basement, or you burn it up. But no, everything's social media-wise. And I just want to say, it was a beautiful thing to see so many across America be out here. So much happening in a positive way.
I agree. And we checked in with Seattle police again this morning to see if there were any arrests on Saturday. And they emphasized that during the day, everything was peaceful. At night, they said there was, and this is my words now, a small group of hooligans who caused damage downtown. They set fires and blocked streets. One person pushed a burning box toward the federal building entrance. And there were some arrests. But according to SPD, they say those folks had nothing to do with the earlier peaceful protests. These are the folks that come out so often once the sun sets, and they're just determined to cause a ruckus. It's also important to point out, Gee, that there were some people during the peaceful protests who really were determined to cause trouble on Saturday. But I think there was a lot of self-policing, and not self-policing, but just within the crowd. An example, case in point, at Cedar and 4th, there was a driver, a guy with his family in his minivan, and apparently he drove into a cyclist, jumped out of his car, and then grabbed him, and all of this was caught on video.
Where are you trying to go? Do you not see all these people here?
I'm carrying this road. You ain't the police. Get the hell out of the
around. Hey, you realize you're on camera, right? You just touched me.
What are you going to drive?
This is a permitted event.
Do you see 1,000?
This is a permitted event.
Turn the around.
Homie, this is not that day.
Love that energy from the person who stopped the man in a minivan with his whole family there. Like, what was he trying to do? In any case, that minivan eventually turned around after several minutes, which was great.
I do want to say this. While, Ursula, I'm glad you brought this up first. While I do, and we celebrate a lot of positive news across the country where there were mass protests and nonviolent, like we all want it to be, while that is happening, I do know this. I do know that when you wrestle with a pig and you win, you still get dirty. And ultimately, I just foresee this continuing, and there will be National Guard being deployed, Marines being deployed to, as you're going to talk about how President Trump has already talked about, increasing right? His attention and focus with the raids on the cities, the big cities, the cities that did not vote for him. So unfortunately, I'm glad, I want to talk about the positive now, but this won't stay that way because that's not what they want.
Well, in Tukwila, it was a much more tense situation outside the Department of Homeland Security field office. This also happened on Saturday. Legal immigrants enrolled in the Intensive Supervision Appearance Program were told on Friday to report to the building for a check-in. And that got the attention of activists and immigration attorneys because the office is usually closed on Saturdays and Sundays. Fox 13's Christian Balderas has more details.
Protesters wore gas masks and had shields on hand.
The gas and the fumes spread across like this whole area. Like all this was smoking up.
The day before, Tukwila police and ICE confronted protesters outside the DHS building and deployed pepper balls, flashbangs, and tear gas at people who blocked the facility's entrances. Many people here say ICE later fired rubber bullets, some of which appear to remain on the ground.
I couldn't believe what was happening before my eyes. I felt afraid for my life.
Now, DHS officials eventually closed the building and told the remaining immigrants to return the next day. So on Sunday, protesters gathered again, only to find that the DHS building was closed. Seattle University law professor Pilar Escontrias says immigrants who want to do things the right way are not being given that opportunity.
This then created, of course, a lot of confusion and worry because individuals who wanted to comport with the law and actually show up were left with no sense of what they should do.
So no one was arrested during Saturday's clashes. Tukwila police say their officers have jurisdiction over the roads and sidewalks in front of that DHS building. They say they took action to clear the protesters who had blocked those entrances and exits to the building. But they emphasized that they did not take part in immigration enforcement or any help in detaining people based on their immigration status, which is in line with state law.
Yeah. Hey, Ursula, this is very hard because if you just take 100 people, right, and you have 99 of the 100 doing what they're supposed to do, not causing any type of violence, and you have one person. It takes one person to throw something at the law enforcement, do something outrageous, and then it becomes a problem. So I first want to just say this. To the police officers that have to, as you know, my cousin, who she was out there in Chicago having to go through this stuff. To the police officers, I want to tell you, respectfully, I understand and appreciate what you have to do out there, and it can't be easy. I know it has to be hard. I know that you don't want to go to work every single day. I wish, and we wish, all of this wasn't happening. But you do have some bad actors that are out here, Ursula, that are making things bad.
Yes. And so just in the thing that I worry about is what is happening with this immigration, these legal immigrants who are told to come in. I don't have a problem with how Tukwila police responded because they started acting up. They were blocking. They had to do it. They had to so and if you're starting to throw things at officers, they're going to respond.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't think you and I, exactly. I don't think you and I have an issue with that. The issue I have and the concern I have is that there is this question about, well, why were they told to come in over the weekend when that normally doesn't happen? What was the intent of that? And there's a lot of distrust right now.
Mm-hmm. A lot.
Yeah. So, and one of the reasons there's distrust, I'll move on to this story, is that immigrant advocates, civil rights groups, and state leaders in Washington are condemning what they call a breach of trust and privacy because there are newly revealed federal orders that have led to the sharing of protected medical data, including immigration status, with deportation officers. So this is a story out of the Seattle Times, and they're reporting that advisors to Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. instructed the Federal Centers for Medicaid and Medicare to hand over the names, addresses, Social Security numbers, and claims data for millions of non-U.S. citizens to the Department of Homeland Security. This is being reported by the Associated Press. So this leak basically impacts everyone who is enrolled in the state's Apple Health program. We're talking about 1.7 million people, including tens of thousands of immigrants, both undocumented and lawfully present. And Governor Bob Ferguson is blasting this move as a violation of privacy for political purposes, saying that President Trump is targeting vulnerable Washingtonians to cause chaos and fear. And he says that we are exploring every option to protect our people.
I feel like everything that you talk about, Ursula, is I'm going to wind up saying the same thing. That has been, this chaos is what's wanted. How can we figure out how to continue with the chaos? Whether it is the governor of the state or the mayor of the state trying to bring peace upon its community. What we see down in California, down in L.A., we see Governor Newsom down there, Karen Bass, the mayor down there. Ursula, it's the same playbook, ultimately. Now, right now, we're doing okay, considering, but it's getting ready. It's going to intensify. And I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think that I am.
Well, one of the reasons that you might not be wrong is that just yesterday, the president ordered federal immigration officers to ramp up deportations, specifically in Democratic-led cities. So this was something that he posted on social media. He said he told ICE agents to, this is a quote, do all in their power to achieve the very important goal of delivering the single largest mass deportation program in history. But he said to meet that goal, they have to add or expand their efforts to detain and deport illegal aliens in America's largest cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, where millions upon millions of illegal aliens reside. Again, this is quoting him. And while he is targeting these Democratic-led cities, he's also changing his tune when it comes to specific types of workers, specifically farm workers and people who work in the service industry.
And we're going to have to do something about that. Farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels.
I should point out, Gee, that according to Homeland Security, more than 40% of farm workers in the U.S. are not here legally. They don't have legal documentation.
Mm-hmm. Donald Trump just explained to all of you that he and others care more about profit than people. It is always profit over people. Now, all of a sudden, you want to pause to hotel staff. You want to pause to farm workers as of right now. But this flip-flop isn't because Donald Trump has any values. This flip-flop is only morally bankrupt deals is what he cares about. Trump is like so many here in America. You love for your minorities when they work for you. You love it when they clean your house. You love it when they cut your grass. You love it when they take care of your loved ones. Donald Trump didn't keep families together and doesn't want to keep families together. He doesn't want to honor the dignity of essential workers. He did this because simple. Businesses are worried about profit. End of story. That's why we are here right now and we are having this discussion because businesses says, hey, Donald, hey, whoa. If you keep doing this and if they don't come to work to the farms, groceries are going to go up. And you remember you told everybody that you were going to make sure groceries were cheaper. So this is only about profit over people.
Under Donald Trump's own definition, this would make hotels and farmers sanctuary businesses, right? Because they are businesses that knowingly harbor and protect undocumented immigrants, which by this administration's own definition, if you are in this country undocumented, you're a criminal. So he's created a whole category of sanctuary businesses in the United States where you're allowed to be a criminal. I don't understand the logic there.
Well, some of the logic might be also explained by the Trump organization itself and how much they employ. I mean, Washington posted a story a couple years back after interviewing like 50 of his current and former employees, and basically they were saying, yeah, a bunch of people who are employed by this company are not here in this country legally.
Right. $96.7 billion in taxes were paid by undocumented immigrants in 2022. $96.7 billion. And for some reason, he makes it a point, Ursula, to every single time they want to say the illegal aliens, and he wants to immediately attach them to being the murderers and the rapists. But it's interesting, though, right? Because every single time I look at the news and seeing who is committing the murders, the mass murders in this country, they aren't undocumented immigrants. Do I need to talk about the most recent in Minnesota is a 57-year-old white man, and I know you're going to be talking about that next coming up at 9:30.
We've got new details on the FBI is holding a news conference as we speak, so we'll have new details about that horrific crime and who is behind it.
Let's talk about it next, Ursula.
As the nation's biggest news story makes its way to right here at home.
Anti-ICE protesters turned violent in downtown Seattle.
Trust KIRO News Radio.
Team coverage begins with KIRO News Radio's Gwen Baumgartner.
Watching people graffiti the side of the federal building.
It's why local news and experience matter.
Now to my colleague James Lynch.
I've never seen that large of a contingent of Seattle police officers, an extreme show of force.
KIRO News Radio. Local news coverage you can depend on.
Hey, it's Dave Ross with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar this Wednesday night at 6 to explain how stem cell therapy works.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And remind us which joints you've seen the best success with.
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner's performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures, so if you're in pain, join him this Wednesday night at 6 o'clock for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
With Clear Choice dental implants, one day can make the difference between hiding your smile and saying cheese. Thanks to our dental implant experts, our one-day teeth transformation culminates in your Clear Choice Day, the day when you start loving your smile again. Visit clearchoice.com or call 888-SMILE-05 to schedule your free consultation today. And let us help Seattle start smiling again.
Majority qualify for same-day dental implants after doctor recommendation. Offices owned by Dr. Alfonso Pinheiro.
You know what's faster than your paycheck? Literally everything. It's time to get your pay up to speed. With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors available in select states. Expedited transfer is available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit Earnin.com for full details.
Hey, it's Joe at Town & Country Markets. The local June-bearing strawberries are here now, and they're not going to be here for very long. They eat like $1 million. So don't wait too long, because it'll be over before you know it. You're going to love every bite.
Looking for a simple solution to hair loss this summer? Get the same breakthrough one-day treatment I received at Advanced Hair during their once-yearly summer savings event. Your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day, and Advanced Hair guarantees it will grow. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar during their best offer of the year. For details and a free consultation, call 425-449-8185, advancedhair.com.
If you have aging parents, you've probably worried about their bathroom. That old tub? It's a slip and a disaster waiting to happen. Hi, this is Ursula Reutin. With Bathfitter, you can convert it into a walk-in shower, custom fit, installed in just one day, and backed by a lifetime warranty. No mess, no demo, just a safer, better bathroom. Call Bathfitter today or visit bathfitternw.com to schedule your free consultation. And right now, take advantage of 0% interest for 24 months. Every summer, we drive to Lake Chelan in our Subaru Outback. That car has been great for our family adventures. We bought it at Carter Subaru, and they have what you've been searching for with over 300 new vehicles in stock, including the 2025 Forester, now with 3.9% financing for 48 months, or go electric with the 2025 Solterra EV, 0% APR for 72 months.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 6/30/25.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning. I'm Jillian Raftery. 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder for a man accused of the assassination of state lawmakers in Minnesota. He was arrested after a 2-day manhunt.
He was cooperative and cooperated with law enforcement and gave up peacefully at that time.
Investigators say Vance Belter had a list of 70 names in a car he was using. Leaders of some of the world's biggest economic powers arrived in the Canadian Rockies on Sunday for a Group of 7 summit. President Donald Trump was asked about where trade talks stand with Canada.
I think we have different concepts. I have a tariff concept, and Mark has a different concept, which is something that some people like. But we're going to see if we can get to the bottom of it today. I'm a tariff person.
A Canadian tourism and business boycott in the U.S. has seen some businesses on the border struggling. Iran has launched a new wave of retaliatory missile attacks on Israel overnight, killing at least 8 people and wounding dozens more. One missile fell near the U.S. consulate in Tel Aviv, causing minor damage. Amazon hopes to launch more than 24 satellites for its growing internet service from the Cape at 10:25 this morning. But as CBS's Peter King reports, the company is playing catch-up to rival SpaceX.
Amazon calls its system Project Kuiper. Today's launch from Cape Canaveral will send 27 satellites into orbit, giving the company 54 in all. It's a far cry from its main competitor.
And liftoff. Go SpaceX, go Starlink.
Elon Musk's SpaceX Falcon 9 rockets have launched more than 7,000 Starlink satellites since 2019. Amazon says it will eventually put more than 3,200 of its Kuipers in orbit, but it uses other companies to launch them, including SpaceX. Amazon says it hopes to start Kuiper Internet service later this year. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, we are getting a little bit better. Our biggest troubles have been on 405 and I-5 northbound. Federal Way to Seattle is 54 minutes. That's actually ticked up about 4 minutes longer. We're also seeing some slowing on alternate routes, 99 and 509 getting into Seattle, and some backing up as a result on the West Seattle Bridge. Let me just double check that we don't have an additional collision here. No, it's just residual volume from earlier issues. We will keep in touch with that for for you. 405 northbound, still very heavy from the morning commute and backing up onto 167 northbound. That current travel time is 42 minutes, 24 minutes in the HOV lane. Lake bridges are looking very good, and the southbound drive is looking pretty good. Linwood has a little typical slowing getting into Seattle, but 167 going southbound into Kent's looking good. Tacoma, both directions on I-5 are looking great, and it's a speed limit drive all the way into Olympia. This report brought to you by KIRO Newsradio. Weather brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. We're going to warm up to about 73 degrees today. Overnight lows in the 50s, and tomorrow 71, mostly cloudy. Next chance for rain is Wednesday. 56 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. Welcome to Monday morning. And unfortunately, we have so many stories to get to, so many troubling stories, including this one out of Minnesota, where that state and really the whole country is reeling from a brazen, politically charged assassination plot. 2 lawmakers were gunned down in their own homes. 2 more are fighting for their lives. And Minnesota is now forced to confront how far one person would go to silence what he perceived to be his political enemies. So all of this started early Saturday morning, and the FBI is still holding a news conference right now. So I'm going to try to piece together what they're sharing with us right now and what we already knew. But the FBI said that Vance Belter, wearing full police gear and driving a look-alike squad SUV, showed up at State Senator John Hoffman's home. And he opened fire, hitting the senator 9 times and his wife 8 times as she was trying to shield their daughter. That daughter was the one who made the 911 call that likely saved both of their lives. They are still recovering at the hospital. They're expected to survive.
Oh, wow.
But not much long after that, the FBI says Belter went to the home of former House Speaker Melissa Hortman, in nearby Brooklyn Park, and police actually spotted the fake cop car, but he managed to get to the front door, and he first shot Hortman's husband Mark, killed him, and then went inside and killed Melissa. Officers actually exchanged fire with him, but he managed to vanish into the nearby woods. It ended up being the biggest manhunt in Minnesota state history. Eventually, they found him. I think he came out of the woods. He was crawling out of the woods, and they had arrested him. They arrested him yesterday. Yeah. So inside his vehicle, police found AK-style weapons. They found a notebook that listed about 70 targets, including 45 elected officials. He had basically every Democrat in the state House and Senate.
We're on that list?
Many of them, anyway, were on that list. And, I know there's a lot of finger pointing. Who is this person and who was he motivated by? There's a lot that we're still finding out about him. But now he's facing murder charges, stalking charges, attempted murder charges. And there are a lot of questions that need to be answered.
You've been doing this a long time, Ursula. You ever felt it like this?
No, this is a very different time. And I know that there are a lot of people who maybe even within our first segment, you're like, I'm out. I can't handle this. They would rather not hear what is happening because it's too much. It's a lot. Yeah. It is, for some, it's too much. But this is the reality.
It's a lot for me and a lot for you.
Yeah. But imagine what it's like for the folks in Minnesota, the people who were targeted. Yeah. Like, why is this happening? Why is there so much tension and hatred?
Oh, I'm glad you asked me that. I'm going to answer. Right now, and by the way, there are attacks when it comes to Republicans have been attacked with inexcusable violence. Not okay. But I want to just be clear on something. This is not a both sides argument at all. Let's go back to September of 2020 when Donald Trump, during a debate, told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. Let's go to the fact that MAGA celebrated January 6th And then the decision by Trump to pardon all January 6th rioters. You know, the ones that violated and committed crime in his name on that day. MAGA celebrates assault rifles, machine guns, silencers, and high-capacity magazines. We talk about it all the time. There is a celebration of all these big old guns that is happening. Trump even said that he might pardon those that plotted the kidnapping of Governor Whitmer. Now, I know this might be hard for some folks to hear, because sometimes when you're hearing me say this and we repeat these things, it's hard to imagine that we are living in this state of chaos right now. Donald Trump also sent the military into L.A. to inflame and create all of the conditioning, and even sent Marines. Trump threatened protesters of his military parade with assault. I'll just end it with this, Ursula. I cannot name anybody, since people say it's a both sides issue, I can't name anybody on the Democratic side that flames and incites violence the way Donald Trump has. Period. I'm standing right on that. There's no sugarcoating. It is what it is. There is not one comparison. This man talking about pardon the people that were kidnapped, the plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer. This dude pardoned January 6th. There is a full stop. The reason we are in this situation, his name is Donald Trump. So I don't care if you're mad. I don't care if y'all don't like to hear it. The truth never expires. It is what it is. This was never happening before. It didn't happen with Reagan. I'm talking about since I've been alive. It didn't happen with Carter. It didn't happen with Reagan. It didn't happen with the first Bush, the second Bush. It didn't happen with Clinton. None of this. This is Donald Trump, and this is the reason we are in this climate today.
Sadly, I mean, I have a hard time pushing back on a lot of what you're saying, because I don't remember a time like this. I mean, and I know, I mean, text us 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. If you disagree with G, what specifically do you disagree with? Do you think that there was a time like what we're dealing with right now? TV stations did manage to talk to this guy's, who is this guy that we've got
David
sound
Carlson. He says he's his best friend and sometimes roommate.
Okay, yeah. So we're just, again, trying to find out more about the suspect in this shooting.
Apparently in his manifesto, there was some stuff about Planned Parenthood.
He had a manifesto?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Was there any beliefs about abortion? Or?
Yeah, he was a strong, but he hasn't talked about abortion for years. I mean, this goes back through the 90s. He really hated abortion.
And this reporter also asked him about his political affiliations.
We even asked about Mr. Bolter's political affiliations, and David Carlson, once again his roommate and best friend, known him since fourth grade, did say Bolter voted for Trump and that he was a strong supporter, but he hasn't really talked about politics lately.
And I know that there are Republicans who are trying to say that he was a Democrat because he had a position in Governor Walz's thing. There's a lot of information that we still don't know, and I want to withhold some of my statements before we find out more about him. But this person clearly armed to the gills with the intention of killing a lot of people.
Yes,
he managed to kill 2 and seriously injure 2 others.
And Ursula, you're right. There is a lot of information that we don't know. But there is information that we do know. And I just laid out that information. And if you don't like what I said, you can't tell me what I said specifically that was wrong. And this is the same dude that likes and wants to be friends with dictators across the world. Name a time a political candidate wants to be friends with dictators. When? When has that happened? When have we had military parades? What are we talking about here? This is what we do know. This man pardoned evilness on January 6th in front of the whole world. We saw it. This dude pardoned them. And he does not care if crime is going to be committed. It's only if it's committed in his name that it is okay. Any type of crime that is against him, he is against. But if crime is committed for Donald Trump, he is for that. Miss me with that. That's right. Obama made this happen today. The reason why so many people are angry is because Obama was in office, and boy, was he so elegant, and he was so good at what he did. Coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show, Ursula, let's get positive. Let's get positive.
Okay, that's a transition.
What you need to tell each person as we go.
Okay.
Ursula, breathe.
Okay,
We'll do
yeah,
more
take
next.
a deep breath.
Gee and Ursula.
Hey, it's Dave Ross with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar this Wednesday night at 6 to explain how stem cell therapy works.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And remind us which joints you've seen the best success with.
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner's performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures, so if you're in pain, join him this Wednesday night at 6 o'clock for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Well, here in our region, it's really common for homes to have damaged insulation or even no insulation at all in their crawl space or attic. Well, in the winter, that'll make your home cold and drafty. And in the summer months, it can turn your home into an oven. It's Mike Salk here, and utility companies have special incentives right now to help with the cost of having your home properly insulated, including a once-in-a-lifetime rebate from Puget Sound Energy. So if you're a PSE customer and your home was built before 1990, you could qualify to receive a rebate on up to 95% of the cost to properly insulate your crawl space and attic. Yes, they will cover up to 95% of the cost. And if you're anything like me, you love the idea of somebody else paying to improve your home, add value to it, and save you money along the way. How good does that sound? Don't wait. Call Crawl Pros to learn what's going on behind that crawl space and attic hatch for free, and then what energy rebates you're eligible for. If you're worried about critters, mold, water damage, insulation issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
The old throne's not too well, and ooh, does it smell?
DayandNight.net. Hi, I'm Bruce, General Manager of Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Over the past 70 years, I think we've seen every drain clog out there. If your pipes aren't draining, I promise you, our experienced technicians will find the issue, the right solution, and do it at a fair price. We'll work harder than anyone to earn your trust.
Call Day and Night to save $50 off any drain cleaning.
DayandNight.net.
Good morning. It is the Gee and Ursula Show. To sum up our last segment, just a reminder that the truth sounds like hate to those that don't like the truth. Ursula, we do need to talk. This weekend, I got a chance to go back to Chicago and see a lot of the family. And on Sunday was kind of like a banquet, if you will, of the family, learning about history of the family and all of the who's in our family. Just found out that Reverend Charles Avery, who founded Avery College in Pittsburgh in 1849, is a descendant of mine. So, it's crazy. It was the first place to allow African Americans into college. And so, hence the reason so much of the Irish in my blood. And so, people had their 23andMe, stuff like that. And so, a lot of me and my cousins have Irish
So
inside
how
of
big
us.
are these gatherings when you get together? So
This one was about 60 plus. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good.
Very cool.
So I was asked to speak about legacy, our family legacy, the importance of it, explaining it, how important that it is. And so, Ursula, when I first got up there to stand and talk, as you know, we talk for a living, so it's easy for me to talk all day. As soon as I stood up in front of my family, I felt an emotion inside, and I was thinking to myself, what is going on? There's no way. I am not going to make it through this without getting emotional.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just right away.
And once you feel that catch coming in your throat,
yes.
the more you try to suppress it,
No doubt.
the more it comes out.
Right.
Yes. And the reason you got emotional, and you can do it for a living, but once it's personal, it changes.
It changed.
Yeah.
So I started off by, and I wanted to address, because I got introduced as, it's from Seattle and the best
Mr.
dressed.
Big Shot.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to talk about legacy and say, hey, your legacy has nothing to do with worldly possessions, has nothing to do with financial or anything. Legacy is about memories and traditions. Period. It is the impact that you have on others and people and how you'll be remembered long after you're gone. So I wanted to address that part kind of. But as I kept going, I wanted to start off with my grandmother. I started with her, and then I wanted to go through all of the siblings. That includes my dad. My grandmother had 9 kids.
Wow.
So I wanted to address them all, even the ones that are no longer living. However, their kids and their grandkids are in the room, right?
So had you prepared this, or you were just looking to see who's in the room, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about the impact that each of my uncles and aunts had on me?
The emotion side of me, I planned on talking a lot about specifically legacy and that. And then because of the emotion, and I thought every time I'm asked to speak to the family, it is usually a casket that's in the room. It is usually me giving a eulogy. So for this time, I said, you know what? I changed it up, and I talked about my mama Scott, my grandmother, the matriarch of the family who passed away, and I went through each sibling. And so each sibling, I went to them, that the ones that were living, I went to them as well, and went to them and told them how much they mean to me, how much they mean to the family. I gave them personal stories that I remember about them that really grabs onto me. And one specific story was my Aunt Rosemary, who she passed away. She just recently. And she is, I always say, she's the first superstar that I ever met. Because she was a fashion designer, and she lived downtown Chicago. She lived in the same building with Oprah Winfrey for a long time. So she was like the first time that I thought, oh, that's what fame and celebrity looks like. But anyways, the point is, and I'm glad you and Chef asked me to do this, it was this. I would challenge you the next time you all have a family get-together. Instead of waiting to talk about all those good things over a casket, talk about them right there. Talk about, hey, Ursula, this is what you mean to me. I remember this happened in this specific story and how it made me feel and the impact that it had on me, and I did that one by one.
See, that is such a beautiful thing. And you're right. Why do we wait until someone dies before we talk about how much they meant to us when they don't have... It's almost like you need to do the eulogies while they're still alive. I love that idea. I'm going to borrow it with my upcoming milestone event.
Yes! Yes, Ursula!
I'm going to call on some people to speak. You'll be included.
Okay. No. I'd be honored to speak, Ursula.
Thank you. But it's so touching, and when you don't speak in platitudes, but you get specific about, this is something I remember about you that really I hold dear to my heart, and I will always remember.
Yeah.
I have to ask, because there's like a lot of people in my family that I have very fond memories of, and family can be complicated. Did you find that was a healing process, both for you and for your family?
Oh, yeah. It was healing. Everybody, each individual person that was living that I talked about was crying in real time right in front of my face. And I'm directing all of my energy and talking about the impact that they've had on me. Yes. And so I do encourage everyone to do something like that. It is definitely a powerful thing. All right. Hey, coming up at 10 o'clock, we will actually be talking about the millions of those that were protesting over the weekend all over. And being specific, we have one of our own listeners as a guest to talk about what it is that they saw during the protest. And we'll maybe hear from Luke Ducey as well. We'll do all that next. Gee Ursula.
KIRO Newsradio, the Northwest's trusted news source.
Get the latest from KIRO Newsradio's James Lynch.
It happened Wednesday morning just after 6 o'clock.
Experienced voices you trust.
Several people hurt after a violent Saturday in Pierce County.
Coverage you depend on.
More from KIRO Newsradio's Matt Markovich.
It's as close to a veto warning as you could possibly get.
KIRO Newsradio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
And now, tales of another way. You're making your go-to goulash. Salt, pepper, and paprika. But you spy smoked paprika in the spice rack. And your go-to goulash becomes go-go goulash. Sometimes another way is the better way. Like the new SR 509 Expressway. The alternate route that'll help manage congestion on I-5 and other local roads. Plus, provide better access to SeaTac. Open soon. Free through summer. Learn more at goodtogo509.com.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with XFi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Hi, it's John Curley. You know, I've been a patient of Longevity Medical Clinic since 2009, and Longevity Medical Clinic has been helping people live longer, healthier lives for more than 25 years. You know what's amazing, Doctor? The feelings that you have after just a couple of months. You sleep better. Your strength and vitality, it is evident that it works. It's really a mindset, though, Dr. Mixon, because a lot of people, well, this is what's supposed to happen.
Let us help you be stronger, faster, leaner, smarter, sexier, but most important, happier. I'm less impressed by how many years I might live, but how much I live during my years. You know, the option is here. Nobody's going to make you go to longevity. But the opportunity is there, and all you have to do is take advantage of it. I don't know why anybody would not want to do what we do.
And that's where Longevity Medical Clinic comes in. So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at amazonbusiness.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Lori here from Guardian Roofing. When it's time to get that roof replaced, choose Guardian with our expert insured team and our Guardian Guarantee. Call now and get 1 year of maintenance free with the installation of a new roof, or visit us at guardianroofing.com.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. New information's emerging about the man accused of shooting 2 Minnesota Democratic lawmakers and their spouses, killing one and her husband. Vance Belter is now facing federal and state murder charges.
Belter went to the homes of 4 Minnesota state politicians with the intent to kill them.
Acting U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson says some of those lawmakers were not home.
He researched his victims and their families. He used the internet and other tools to find their addresses and names, the names of the family members. He conducted surveillance of their homes.
Belter was caught after a nearly 2-day manhunt. He also faces attempted murder counts for an attack that left a lawmaker and his wife wounded. Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty.
It is a frightening time we are living in. Political violence is prevalent, and the way we talk to and about each other has raised the temperature to unfathomable levels.
Well, now to West Virginia, where at least 5 deaths are blamed on flash flooding. CBS's Tom Hansen is in the northeast part of that state.
This is an incredibly mountainous area. There are a lot of high peaks, a lot of low valleys. All of that water has to go somewhere. And I can tell you right now, the ground that I'm standing on is incredibly saturated. It is muddy. That water has to go somewhere. It's going to go down into the river systems ultimately, which means that those levels still could rise as we go throughout the day.
President Trump says Iran is not winning in its battles with Israel.
They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before.
At the G7 summit, Trump said Iran should be talking about ending its nuclear program and trying to reach a deal on it. In Iran, state TV went off the air after an airstrike, and in Israel, CBS's Robert Berger says missile attacks are blamed for at least 8 deaths.
Right now, we're seeing a lot of support from the Israeli public because
the Iran nuclear program is seen as an existential threat. So we're watching these ballistic missiles crash into Israel, and what everyone or many people are saying is, what if one of those had a nuclear warhead?
In New York, CBS's Katrina Kaufman reports the defense at the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial complained to the judge today when a juror was dismissed.
The juror that was dismissed is a black male. He's being replaced with a white male, and they're worried about how this hurts the diversity of the jury, although it does still remain a very diverse jury.
And checking Wall Street, right now the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 358 points. The S&P is up 56. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
The search for Travis Decker enters its third week. We'll tell you more about that just in a moment. But first, from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, we're looking so much better on all of our routes. Residual slowing from I-5 is going down northbound into downtown Seattle. Federal Way to Seattle now is 43 minutes down from 50 minutes just less than an hour ago. Renton to Bellevue on 405 northbound is sitting at 28 minutes, and Bothell to Bellevue 19 minutes. It's just a few minutes behind schedule. Linwood to Seattle 24 minutes, and Seattle to Linwood in the other direction 17 minutes. We're looking great in the South Sound with no delays on 16 getting into Tacoma or I-5 in and out of Tacoma. This report brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance. Get whole house cooling and heating from one ultra-efficient new heat pump and save up to $6,000 and take 18 months to pay. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Jillian Raftery. The manhunt continues for Travis Decker. He's accused of killing his 3 daughters after picking them up from their mother for a scheduled visit in Wenatchee. KIRO 7 TV's Jason Sloss reports he's been on the run for more than 2 weeks.
Authorities believe they're closing in on him. The Chelan County Sheriff's Office says hikers may have spotted him in the Enchantments area. Now authorities believe they have Decker surrounded in the Washington wilderness. If you have a tip that can help authorities find Decker, call the U.S. Marshals Service at 1-800-336-0102. Decker is considered dangerous. If you see him, call 911 right away. There's a $20,000 reward for information leading to an arrest.
Seattle could be a target for stepped-up immigration enforcement. There have been reports that ICE has flown in plane loads of equipment, including armored vehicles for special response teams. Over the weekend, Mayor Bruce Harrell said he's watching the president's social media posts closely.
We read the tweets, we read the social media, we plan. We've had no direct communication.
President Trump posted on social media just yesterday saying he wants to deliver the single largest mass deportation program in history, 3,000 arrests every day across the country. However, Trump also told ICE to pause raids at farms, restaurants, and hotels. Even so, Washington's cherry growers say they're struggling to find enough workers to pick their fruit. The News Tribune says the cherry season in California is still wrapping up, delaying some workers from arriving in Washington, and fear of immigration enforcement may be keeping more people away. The Northwest cherry industry is worth almost $1 billion. Gig Harbor is getting a brand new park. Doris Heritage Park officially opens this afternoon at 4 o'clock. It's located on Harbor Hill Drive, just north of Borgen Boulevard. The News Tribune says the park has 6 pickleball courts, 3 bocce ball courts, and 2 picnic areas. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Partly cloudy today, warming up to 73 degrees. Overnight lows in the low 50s. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with rain moving in. Isolated showers on Wednesday and a high of 69. It is 56 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Good morning, everybody. It is the Gee and Ursula Show. I got to tell you, the 10 o'clock hour for me, Ursula, is going to be a lot more calm.
Okay.
Good morning to you,
Got
Ursula.
it all out of your system in the 9 o'clock hour.
I did.
If you missed any part of it, you can catch up on our podcast. You had a lot of people saying, right on, G, and a lot of people who are a little annoyed with you.
Right. I mean, look, those people that are annoyed with me are annoyed with me the same way I get annoyed with the scale. You step on that damn scale and you don't like the truth. I get it. The truth hurts.
Okay, what we do like, though, is when you engage with us. Our text line is 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. And shout out to all of you watching us on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
What's new at 10?
And as I mentioned, it was one of the largest protests in Seattle's history. Police are estimating more than 70,000 people came out for the No Kings demonstration on Saturday. This man was moved by the sheer size of the protest, and he posted about it on TikTok.
In all my lifetime, I have never seen the people united. Like, this is insane. I'm in my 20s, but, I've never seen anything like this before. It's beautiful.
And we've heard from a lot of people who took part in the demonstration. One of our longtime listeners, known as Kevin in Seattle, he was among them, and he joins us now on the Gee and Ursula Show. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you. We love when you send us text messages, but we thought we would want to hear from you today because I know you were really moved by what you saw on Saturday. So tell us about it.
Well, it was pretty amazing. You know, I got to Cal Anderson about 12:15, and the crowd was amazing. Just thousands of people, and just kind of it was so almost it was so affirming to be with people who are like-minded in every cause under the sun, really. But just people that felt the need to turn out and peacefully protest.
Kevin, when you say like-minded, right? Can you tell me, what do you all have in common together? And also, why did you even go?
Well, there's a concern about the current administration and their policies. And that's when I say like-minded. We're not, there's as many causes as there are, under the sun. There's a lot. And it's just to be able to say we're all in our silos at times, and it was just the reason I wanted to go was just to be around people and feel that energy and know that that this is something that goes beyond just a small group of friends. Where 70,000, and I didn't know that at the time. It got really claustrophobic, and it took a long time to march. But it was just it's very nice to have those conversations with people who are concerned about the direction the country's going in.
What did you learn?
Well, what I learned was that, it's still possible to do this peacefully, which, we were all praying for. And, there's so many messages and, talking to so many people. But for me, the real message was in the numbers, where it's just incredible that many people would come out and march and do that kind of thing and just have it go off the way it did. So I guess really that's what I learned was that it's still possible. And I learned a little bit about Pramila Jayapal's resistance lab that she's doing that's kind of trying to organize people and keep it going than just a one-off day.
Describe what it felt like, though, because you said you went to Cal Anderson, but I know that people were marching basically shoulder to shoulder, and at one point the line was 1.5 miles long, according to SPD. Just the feeling that was there on Saturday.
I think it was all really positive, but it was really hard to get out of the park. Next time I'm going to go be on an adjacent street if it's there. And I don't know whether that was part of the crowd control, but whatever they did worked. But it was just such a positive energy to have that many people and really just concerned and just know that I didn't see any incidents at all. And apparently that's also echoed by the organizers and the police. So it just was really, I'm still a little bit joyful about it because it just made me feel good to have it go the way that it did.
Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate you joining us. I want to say someone texted in and said it's unbelievable that you play this video that says the protests are beautiful. However, the Seattle Police Department disagrees strongly. Actually, they disagree with you, texter, because we even called them this morning and they were upset when we were asking about, maybe upset's too hard of a word, but they were very defensive and they said, no, what happened on Saturday was very peaceful and it was only at night. where there were some of those what I call hooligans who are intent on causing chaos that came out, but that had nothing to do with what happened during the No Kings protests. And in fact, during the protests, SPD posted on X that that they had no reports of any property damage. So,
Right.
I mean, given the sheer numbers, I'm shocked that there would be nothing, but it sounded like it was largely peaceful. But you know who else went to a rally? Luke Ducey, our reporter. You went to one in Issaquah, Luke.
I did. I went to Issaquah.
So describe that one.
Did y'all tell Kevin bye?
What's that?
Is Kevin still with us?
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. No, appreciate it.
Oh, hey, Kevin, man, thank you for hanging out with us every day, all the time. Appreciate you, bruh.
I give you all 3 hours.
All right, man. We love that. Well, actually, there's some people that might not love that because that helps with ratings and yeah, that'll keep our jobs around. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you, bro.
You know what I experienced was pretty much what Kevin kind of described. You know, so I do have to say though, I went. A group of my friends wanted to go to a rally, including my wife, and you know, I'm a journalist. I was also curious. This is a moment in history that I wanted to kind of experience and see firsthand. I also later in the day watched the U.S. Army parade in D.C. It was President Trump's 79th birthday as well. It was also Flag Day, but I watched that as well. So these are moments in time that you kind of want to see and experience, and I did. And I also have been to a lot of these rallies that have turned violent in the past years, May Day protests, etc. And so, you know, I've been through it, so I kind of wanted to be there just to be, you know, hey, now's the time to go. Come on, let's go, just in case. But, you know, I saw exactly what Kevin described, you know, very peaceful. There was a lot of apprehension in the beginning. This is a march. Everyone marched down the sidewalks of Front Street and then went into a park there in Issaquah, and it was a rally with a stage. And it felt like they weren't prepared for the number of people. I counted thousands, maybe 3 or more.
Even in Issaquah.
Well, the microphones weren't really that powerful, so you couldn't hear in the back, that kind of thing. But you know, they got huge crowds, and but apprehension at first because I saw a lot of people with their heads on a swivel, looking around. You know, remember, think about the headlines that are going on here. Not everything as far as protests around the country turning violent, like in LA and other cities that we've seen. Not necessarily because of the No Kings protests, but other protests, ICE protests. You had that active shooter situation in Minnesota. Granted, it was so far away, but those things, those micro kind of, they weigh and they add up. And then we had this Iran-Israel conflict in the headlines. So all those things together, I think, people feel a little uncomfortable about the world sometimes. So
okay, Luke, Gee asked me the question as a longtime reporter, and me being in this business for nearly 40 years, and you being in it probably nearly as long. Do you ever remember a time like we're living in right now?
No, it's fascinating. I often turn to my wife and say, I cannot believe. And our 19-year-old daughter just finished her freshman year in college, and I just think, my gosh, the things that you are witnessing,
right?
Incredible.
I keep telling our sons, this is not normal.
Yeah.
This is not normal, and we have to stop normalizing what is happening because this is not normal.
Yeah. And real quick, you're out in Issaquah, and crowds were bigger than you thought it'd be.
Well, I thought they would be, yeah.
Yeah, and so you mean to tell me, can you tell us one specific moment, in your mind, hey, this happened, I saw this happen, or where that really stood out to you, something that was good and or bad, whatever. What is one moment?
Sure, there were, and these aren't the moments, but I did want to say that there were some moments of people driving by on Front Street yelling, there was jawing back and forth. There was one guy in a truck who made it a point to drive up and down Front Street with a Trump flag, pro-Trump flag in the back. That's fine, it's free speech, and but I just kept thinking this isn't the day for this isn't a pro-Trump rally. It's an anti-No King. It's a No Kings rally. So organize your event and you do your event.
Right.
But anyways, what stood out to me that so many people came together. I think that what Jeff kind of explained too. It was being there in that moment and then thinking about the record crowd in Seattle too, and then around the country as well. Just you cannot deny that there are people who are concerned about the administration and the administration's decision-making and President Trump, and everyone was coming together, and it was powerful, and you couldn't deny that power either, that like-minded people. Very interesting.
Now, on Sunday, and I know you were reporting this on Seattle's Morning News, on Sunday, President Trump did make some declarations on social media about his plans for mass deportation. So what is that all about?
Yeah, he wants to, beginning in his administration this term, he wanted ICE to make like about 650 arrests a day. Now, as of yesterday, he tweeted out that I want that to be 3,000 arrests a day. Wants to make history with his deportation policy, and has named at least Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York City as liberal-leaning cities that we're going to go after these cities as far as deportations and ICE movements and missions and roundups and raids. Seattle presumably is also kind of lumped into that onto that list. We don't know that for a fact, but we do know that we are on the list for ICE's rapid response team, getting one of those here in our region, in our area. And we are following reports. We've heard these reports, and we've been trying to suss these out. But it's very difficult to get information out of ICE as well as journalists.
It is.
We think they've flown in on multiple planes a lot of equipment, including armored vehicles that could be part of that rapid response team that they would use in our area to have, to help them implement some really aggressive raids, for folks here, perhaps who are here illegally.
Okay, Luke, thank you for tracking all that.
Yeah.
I want to bring up one other story, something else that happened over the weekend, also on Saturday, as if there wasn't enough going on. Did you hear about this passenger who made the comment about a bomb on a plane at SeaTac Airport that prompted a ground stop at the airport?
I kind of heard about it. Can you explain it to me? Because I was in Chicago. What happened?
So the pilot of the Alaska flight that was heading for Walla Walla basically alerted police after this passenger made some kind of offhand comment about a bomb. So the plane had taxied as far as possible from the terminal, which is standard procedure for bomb threats. And then buses had to take the passengers back to the terminal, and bomb-sniffing dogs searched for explosives, but they didn't find anything. Dude was arrested. Unclear what he's going to be charged with, or is there an update, Chef? But he was arrested, and according to Flight Radar 24, this incident resulted in 6 canceled flights and more than 250 delays. Like, did this guy not get the memo that you don't make offhand jokes about bombs on planes? Like, what a moron.
Big time moron. And I think, and I'm glad that the Alaska Airlines pilot and the crew decided to take that serious. I never want them to just think, well, maybe they didn't mean that. No, go through all the precautions. I'm sorry, Lois. I'm sorry, Billy, that you had your flight canceled. I'm sorry that you weren't able to get on that flight on time and there were flight delays. But I think we all want this to be handled in that way. Now, for Buddy that makes that comment like that, yeah, you got to pay for that. There needs to be severe consequences for something like that. That's not something to joke with.
No.
How many people walk around anyway with offhand comments like that, doing that?
It seemed like it used to happen a lot more. It seemed like everyone had gotten the memo that that's not something you do. People are going to take you very seriously if you make some kind of stupid move like that. But given everything that is going on in the world, everything that's happening, and then that happens, like I hope that he pays the consequences big time. That he's never obviously allowed to fly on Alaska Airlines again, I'm going to guess.
No doubt.
But yeah, glad they took it seriously. Just note to everybody, that's not a joke. It's not funny.
Not at all. Not at all.
Hey, we've got a little bit of time, and I'm wondering, do you want to respond to maybe some of the text messages rather than...
Sure.
Yeah. By the way, Kirk in Mount Vernon says it correctly. I would rather have my flight canceled than my life canceled.
So what
253 texted in and said 77 million American United States citizens voted in President Trump on November 8th, 2024 regarding the No Kings protests.
Yeah. And by the way, like, no doubt, Donald Trump has a lot of support. And look, Ursula, we get on this show, and our job is to do our best to talk about local and or start with local and national news. there are going to be opinions where you don't like where you and I land on things. There are opinions that both you and I have where you and I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is what we are currently seeing right now. We're seeing something that we have never seen before. And what do I mean? I see grown men walking around with Donald Trump tattoos, right? All of this reminds me of some gang mentality. This is what happened. This is what I saw in Chicago. I saw people representing this gang. I'm with this. I'll die for these colors, bro. I'm gonna die for this hood, man. You say
I
something
push
against
back
me.
On something though.
Come on,
because you mentioned the person with the Donald Trump tattoo. I don't care. Someone has people have tattoos that mean something to them, and to that person, they worship Donald Trump. Just like wearing a cap or a shirt.
That's fair. Can you think of any other president that has been worshipped like this, where people get tattoos on their body?
Well, I don't know about tattoos on the body, but can I think of anyone who has been more polarizing in the White House than the current president?
Yeah.
No. And do I think that there is a fervor for this on one side, the MAGA contingent of the Republican Party is stronger about this president than presidents in the past?
Okay,
yes.
I'm glad you brought up MAGA. Have you ever seen...
I had to delineate because I think that there are many Republicans who are not comfortable with what is going on.
No doubt. And usually some of those Republicans that we know of, they just remain silent. They just don't say anything.
Yes.
But have you ever seen MAGA or something like this take over a party?
No.
And so when I bring up this gang mentality, that's exactly what we have right here. So I think it's strange for you to put a man, get a tattoo of that man on you. If you want to vote for the man, you want to put a Trump flag on your house, bumper sticker, I think that's great. But we are dealing with a different time. It is a certain type of behavior. It is a certain type of following where there's nothing that someone can say or can do. So that's scary. And we have people that make a living on this stuff. And the crazy, let me say the quiet part out loud. You know what you and I do every day? We say and do the things that not many people will do. Because people will skate around these topics.
Well, and because, how many times do we get warned about how we're going to stop listening? It's going to hurt your ratings. We get it. We get it. But there is this tactic of trying to instill fear if you talk against him. And that is why even someone like Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski cannot say, even when she wants to say something is wrong, she has to skate around it and round and round and round because she's fearful. There's a lot of fear.
People think, Ursula, that whole thing, do people really think I'm going to sugarcoat and filter
Clearly
my opinion
not.
on this?
If you listen to 9 o'clock, clearly not.
Because you won't listen? Listen, if I wanted to make more money right now, I'll say, hey, Ursula, you know what? All I got to do is spew out MAGA talking points, and I will instantly make a lot of money. Do you know the premium on a black man talking MAGA stuff? They love that. So I'm clearly not doing it for the money, and I'm clearly taking a chance of getting people to not listen to me anymore. To which I won't lose a bit of sleep. But you know what I will lose sleep over?
Yes,
being on the wrong side of history. I'll lose sleep over looking in the mirror and realizing that people in this country are being demonized and being oppressed because of the color of their skin or because of their sexuality. I'm telling you right now, I can sleep well, and my grandkids will say, my grandfather was on the right side of history. Ursula was on the right side of history. And they didn't give a damn about somebody saying, I don't want to listen to the show. Coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show, we got some good stuff to talk about. Gee and Ursula.
This hour is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, it's John Curley. You know, I've been a patient of Longevity Medical Clinic since 2009, and Longevity Medical Clinic has been helping people live longer, healthier lives for more than 25 years. You know what's amazing, Doctor? The feelings that you have after just a couple of months. You sleep better. Your strength and vitality, it is evident that it works. It's really a mindset, though, Dr. Mixon, because a lot of people, well, this is what's supposed to happen.
Let us help you be stronger, faster, leaner, smarter, sexier, but most important, happier. I'm less impressed by how many years I might live, but how much I live during my years. You know, the option is here. Nobody's going to make you go to longevity. But the opportunity is there, and all you have to do is take advantage of it. I don't know why anybody would not want to do what we do.
And that's where Longevity Medical Clinic comes in. So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
Hold up a sec. If I work today, why should I have to wait 2 weeks to get my money? With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, I mean, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors available in select states. Expedited transfer is available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit Earnin.com for full details.
G. Scott here with former Seahawks Cliff Averill and Doug Baldwin. I heard you guys are having a celebrity pickleball tournament to raise money for nourishing champions. Why pickleball?
Obviously, it's a growing sport, but also this model is that we will actually be playing with community.
We are the most competitive people, so regardless of how sorry Doug might be, he will be out there competing like it's a Super Bowl.
Sign up for the Celebrity Pickleball Tournament, open to all skill levels. For details, go to championsofchangefoundation.org/pickleball.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Got pickleball game? Play with Seattle football legends in the Champions of Change pickleball tournament on June 28th, benefiting high school athletes. Register at championsofchangefoundation.org/pickleball or donate at your local Safeway.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Jillian Raftery. After a 2-day manhunt, Vance Belter has now been arrested and charged in the murders of a Minnesota state lawmaker and his wife and the attempted murder of a second lawmaker and his wife. Here's Acting U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson.
It is no exaggeration to say that his crimes are the stuff of nightmares. Belter stalked his victims like prey. He went to their homes, held himself out as a police officer, and shot them in cold blood.
Washington Congressman Adam Smith spoke on CNN.
My biggest concern is that we as a society are normalizing political violence. And you see this on many points on the political spectrum. The denigration and attacking of elected officials that you disagree with. It becomes incredibly, it's hateful and dehumanizing.
Investigators say they found a list of about 70 names in the car Belter used, including state and federal lawmakers, community leaders, abortion rights advocates, and healthcare facilities. Israel and Iran continue to trade deadly fire for a fourth day in their most intense confrontation in history. President Donald Trump asked about the conflict at an international economic forum.
It's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war.
He urged both sides to talk but would not comment on U.S. involvement. Seattle Storm legend Sue Bird has officially been inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. The four-time WNBA champion ended her Hall of Fame speech by shouting out the growing game of women's basketball.
The assist was always my favorite play in basketball, and it remains my favorite play in life. I promise to keep making the pass as long as you all keep promise to yell at me to shoot it. Thank you so much.
That sound courtesy of ESPN. Bird spent her entire 19-season career with the Storm. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, we are looking pretty good mid-morning. Federal Way northbound on I-5 to Seattle. The current travel time is 39 minutes. That is much better than earlier. 405 northbound was also an issue. We had high volumes and a couple of collisions in the morning commute. That's down to 31 minutes at this point. And we're almost a speed limit drive from Bothell into Bellevue and Shoreline into Seattle with just a little snag around the convention center. Lake bridges are looking clear. Seattle to Everett, 29 minutes, and Seattle to Federal Way, 22 minutes. This update brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance. Get whole house cooling and heating from one ultra-efficient new heat pump and save up to $6,000 and take 18 months to pay. Visit homecomfortalliance.com. Weather brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Partly cloudy today, high of 73 degrees. Tomorrow, it's going to be a little bit cooler with highs in the low 70s, overnight lows in the low 50s, and we're going to have showers on Wednesday. It is 57 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery with KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. We are going to totally switch gears here. But as always, we invite you to join us on our text line, 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. The mood is feisty today. But we are going to talk about something that I have noticed certainly is recently, and that is the number of young people with serious levels of cancer. I don't know, but there are actually some facts and figures now. Since the year 2000, cancer among people between the ages of 15 to 49 has gone up by 10%. And this year alone, more than 200,000 young Americans are going to join the more than 2 million who are already living with that diagnosis. It's scary. And one of them is Washington Post video journalist Drea Cornejo, who at the age of 26, she was blindsided with stage 4 lung cancer. She was told she only had 3 months to live. And instead, she has basically said, you know what, I'm going to fight this and I'm going to turn my battle into powerful reporting on what all of us young cancer patients face, whether it's questions about their marriage, careers, money, and whether to have kids while living with cancer or a disease that doesn't go away. So her reporting followed this couple, a younger Utah couple, Tanner and Shay Martin, who are facing colon cancer. At least Tanner is facing colon cancer. He was 25 when he got the news, and by the age of 30, he and his wife were trying to squeeze every ounce of life out of every day. They renewed their vows in Ireland. They traveled to Italy, and then they even started planning for a baby.
I think sometimes when people get told they're going to die, they stop living, like right then, you know? So I don't let cancer control me.
So after banking his sperm and weighing the odds, they used IVF, and they learned that they were expecting a daughter. They called her Jowza, their dumpling. But as Shay's pregnancy progressed, Tanner's cancer spread. And so between all of the baby showers and doctor's visits, they also went headstone shopping, knowing that he was going to die soon. And he basically told this reporter his biggest fear wasn't dying, but actually missing out on his daughter's life. And then in May, just weeks after learning his treatment had failed, Tanner did get to meet the baby girl, Amy Lou. And in a tearful moment that was caught on camera, he cradled her tiny body and whispered, "Sweetheart, I love you so much." So while she's still fighting her own disease, she says that following this couple reminded her what it means to live fully while facing death head on. And she says survival is messy. Some days bring hope, other days bring grief, guilt, or anger, and sometimes all of it is all at once.
Well, first, grateful for this person going around and sharing stories of those that are battling cancer. And one of the things that I've learned since being a part of some of the Fred Hutch events, and one of the things that stood out to me was Rick Steves got up to talk recently, and he talked about his prostate cancer diagnosis that he had, and right now he's cancer-free. And in doing so, he was just talking about how so much we would dance around the topic of even discussing cancer. We would say, have you ever heard someone say
the C word?
You knew exactly what I was going to say, Ursula. That kind of thing. Like, he's like, we're scared to say those things, and we're scared to have conversations around that. So I think it is important to hear those stories, to hear, like he said, that cancer diagnosis, and by the way, all of us are different. It's subjective. But I do like how he's given the message about saying that some want to just try to keep living, right, to through it. And
it doesn't have to be an automatic death sentence.
Right.
And there's a lot of life, even if you were told, and too often, I mean, my mom, when she found out that she had brain cancer, glioblastoma, which if you look up the prognosis for that, now she was already 87.
Right.
But when young people are getting that form of aggressive brain cancer and you are told you only have 6 months or a year or whatever it is, or like in this couple's situation where I know that there are going to be some people who take issue with, do you bring a child into this when you know that there's a good chance that you're not going to survive much longer after this child's birth?
Right.
And I don't have an issue with it, but I do know that some people do. I think the more we talk about it, the more we are open about it, the more people learn about it. I mean, and the fact that so many young people are being diagnosed with it, that to me is I mean, we need to get closer to a cure.
This topic is something
I have brought it up to you because
the last 5 years you've been talking about it.
Because I follow some people, I will admit, I follow some people also on TikTok who are these young cancer fighters. And I learned so much from how they live their lives and how they share and what it is that they deal with and the joys that they find even as they are dealing with such a horrible diagnosis. In the case of my mom, she ended up having a stroke, and she didn't last much longer than 6 weeks.
We got 30 seconds. I got to ask you this, and I want to ask everyone's opinion on this. So this couple, they're still trying to have a child, even though he has terminal cancer. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm okay with it.
Me too.
Because, again, you don't know how long you have.
Right.
And you know going in that there is a chance that she's going to be a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
But they take that into consideration. It sounds like they weighed it and decided we're going to go ahead. I would rather he have those moments of joy with whatever amount of life that he has left. And I think that their daughter would understand ultimately that, he only showed love to her with the time that he had.
Because I'm sure that there'll be people that'll think that this is selfish to bring their child into the world knowing that the mom is going to be a single mom.
Yes.
He probably won't. Hopefully he gets to see her born, but he probably won't get to see her.
So it was basically, she was born.
Okay. But he won't get to see her.
But his treatment has failed, so they don't know how long he's going to have.
Sure. Good stuff, Ursula. Coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show, it's time for, scenarios. It's a time where it kind of breaks up the show a little bit. We'll do that next. Gee and Ursula.
The Jake and Spike Show.
Weekdays, noon to 3.
Seattle is the nation's most male-skewed major city. There's more men in Seattle. They say in the article here, they said the most masculine city, but I absolutely disagree with that.
You've seen the men in this town.
Exactly.
Please. It's not like it's 80-20.
No,
that's when it's hard to meet a lady.
That's true.
When there's 4 guys for every girl. That's when it's here come the bride's time.
The Jake and Spike Show.
Weekdays, noon to 3.
On KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
I was just talking about my mom. I know what it's like when you have aging parents and you're just worried about their safety. And if you are in that position, maybe you're worried about your parents trying to get in and out of their bathtub. That old tub, it's a slip and a disaster waiting to happen. With Bathfitter, though, you can convert that old tub into a walk-in shower, custom fit, installed in just one day, and it'll be backed by a lifetime warranty. You don't have to worry about any kind of mess, no demo, just a safe, better, safer bathroom. Bathfitter's quality is truly unmatched. They use the very best materials. They take laser precise measurements. And what that means for you is that you are going to have a bathroom that is built to last. Bathfitter has more than 40 years experience, and it's no wonder that they have more than 2 million happy customers, including me. Call Bathfitter today or visit bathfitternw.com to schedule your free consultation. And right now, you can take advantage of 0% interest for 24 months.
Hey, it's me, the foul pole at T-Mobile Park. But it's about time they call me the fair pole, because those are the moments I live for. When Cal's up to the plate, I'm always on high alert.
The big dumper with a 2-run blast.
And then there's Randy Arozarena, launching missiles into the stands, flipping his bat so high it practically reaches my eye level.
Blasted back, Randy Arozarena strikes again.
And J-Rod, heck. When he connects, he makes the whole building shake.
And it's gone. Goodbye, baseball. Julio Rodriguez.
So come on down and take a seat beside me. You might even go home with a souvenir. Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
Don't miss this week's showdown at T-Mobile Park between the Mariners and Red Sox. The boys from Beantown are visiting for a 3-game set tonight and tomorrow night at 6:40 and Wednesday afternoon at 1:10. Catch Cal Raleigh and the crew as they take on the Red Sox in this marquee matchup. Lock in your seats now at mariners.com/tickets.
Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens has given me back clear vision. They've performed over 80,000 successful lens replacement surgeries. At Sharp Vision, you'll get the best price combined with the best experience. Sharp-vision.com. That's sharp with an E, -vision.com.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk. a wireless company that actually stands for something.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Guys, it's Men's Health Month at Revive Seattle. Get a free comprehensive wellness panel. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, heart health, and more. Valued at $400. Offer ends June 30th. Call 206-529-1111 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Cars for Kids, your trusted charity for car donations, also accepts donations of boats, RVs, motorcycles, and real estate. Call today, 877-CARS4KIDS.
You know that cartoon of the three-eyed fish swimming in polluted water next to a nuclear power plant?
Yeah, classic.
I used to think that was real, but I just learned that nuclear energy waste isn't some glowing green goo. It's actually used fuel rods from nuclear reactors that made electricity.
Wait, so no barrels of leaking sludge?
No, solid used fuel rods are safely stored at all the nuclear power plants in the U.S., including the one in Richland.
So the cartoon fish isn't real?
Not even close. Learn the facts about nuclear energy and used fuel at energy-northwest.com.
It is the Gee and Ursula Show. I just want to say to you, if you listen to the show, we love that you listen. Thank you that you come and hang out with the Gee and Ursula Show. Now let's get to scenarios.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
Ursula, your help is really needed on this topic.
Okay.
My husband and I celebrated our 5th anniversary last month. Everything was sweet until he sent me on a scavenger hunt for my gift. It was fun. He gave me clues and sent me all over the house, which, by the way, Ursula loves this kind of stuff. The hunt took me to the attic, where I found a locked box. I thought it was where my gift was hidden, so I opened it. Inside, there were letters, pictures, and even some jewelry from a woman. I had no idea who she was, so I asked. It turns out that this woman was his fiance who passed away in a car accident a month before we got together. That's rough. He never mentioned her, not even once. So I asked about the details, and it turns out that she died just a few weeks before we were going out, and only comes out to be where that's a year before we got married. Yes, we did get married soon. I pushed further and found out that their wedding date was less than a month away from our wedding date. How weird is that? But I also found letters. Every year on the anniversary of her death, he writes her a letter and puts it in the box. He's still hurting, and I feel bad for him, but keeping this from me, I feel like it's lying, maybe even cheating. I can't help but think I'm just a convenient replacement, but I haven't replaced her. Otherwise, why would he keep writing to a ghost? What should I do? 888-973-5476. Ursula, you up to bat first.
So he had a scavenger hunt that took her ultimately to a place where he has a box of letters. I think that he did this scavenger hunt with the explicit reason to have her find that box of letters.
You think so?
I mean, come on. And this is someone who has a tough time communicating difficult subjects. And so is he cheating? No. Is he lying by omission? I would say yes. And I would, what should you do? Bring up the fact that during this scavenger hunt, you found this box of letters and you'd like to talk about it, and you will need to find out why he felt like he couldn't talk to you about something so important. Mm-hmm. I mean, is he still grieving her? I think that this is ultimately going to be one of those things that you need to take to a relationship therapist.
Right.
honestly. But I think lying by omission is lying.
Yeah.
And I think that she would have good reason to not feel entirely trusting in that relationship. But again, I would just talk to him about it.
Well, I'll just kind of be simple here. He loves you and her, and he won't stop loving her. And he's been on every anniversary, he's been writing to her, and she's always going to be in his heart. So going forward, you have to know this. She is always going to be in his life, on his heart.
But why did he feel like he couldn't talk to her about it?
I don't know.
That makes me a little curious, a little suspect.
I mean, he probably...
Especially so soon before you guys met.
He's not over it.
What's he supposed to say to her?
You're not supposed to.
So that requires you to actually have some kind of therapy, or at least have some kind of conversation with your current partner.
I wouldn't tell her. If I was writing to somebody that's no longer here every anniversary, hey baby, I just want to let you know that on the anniversary I write to her. How does that even sound? I ain't telling nothing.
She doesn't have any reason to feel threatened because this woman is dead.
I disagree. I disagree completely. I don't think that you can be fully invested in a relationship if you have not, if you've not settled a past relationship.
I agree.
And it's one thing that this woman has passed away, but he is actively checking in, maintaining it, clearly thinking about her all of the time. And I'm not suggesting that someone whose spouse has passed away, that's not normal, but this is abnormal. To jump into another relationship so fast, this reminds me of someone bouncing back into a relationship immediately after a breakup. And then for the entire period of that relationship, they're still thinking about the one that got away. Right? How can you be present in your relationship if you haven't settled with your past?
Which is why this wife, I think, has reason to worry. I mean, he basically kept that from her. And I think that is trouble. That's starting your marriage just on the wrong footing.
Oh, by the way, Ursula, I'm with you. Yes, you got reason to worry. He always got her on the heart. And that's a rough situation. Now, I will say this. He was unfair. It was unfair of him to never tell her that this person ever existed. That's cold-blooded. That way she can make the decision.
Crazy. How would the fiance never come up in conversations with friends and family?
Right? See, that would, again, make me suspicious.
You know what I'm saying? All right. Warren in Tacoma. I'll let Ursula read that one. What do you got, brother?
It's a weird approach, and I like the idea of the scavenger hunt as a romantic game between the two, but I think they both took this good thing and turned it into a full-fledged investigation that's, I think, getting blown a little out of proportion. It is sad the past life ended in a death, sure, but it shouldn't affect the life they have now. I'd understand more if it was infidelity or an ongoing affair with someone still there, but at this point, I'm not getting any spark for the couple out of this old discovery they're trying to bring back up. I'd feel more sad about the loss of life than wondering if there were still feelings. I think it is getting a little blown up, but, I could be wrong.
All right, I'm going to sweeping statement. You ready, Ursula?
Okay.
Men can potentially love more than one woman. Women cannot. I think their love stays on one.
I think that's one of your more rotten ones.
Okay.
I think that women can love more than one woman.
Yeah.
No. They can only love one man. That's it.
Yeah, I don't
agree.
Tell yourself that story.
I just want to say, Ursula said it. That was literally the worst sweeping statement I've ever had on the show. It's awful. All right. Matter of fact, Nick somehow scratched that from the podcast. That was a
We'll find a way to omit it. How about that?
That sweeping statement was so bad, I might retire sweeping statements. All right, coming up next, Agree to Disagree. It's Gee and Ursula.
Looking for love in all the wrong places. Looking for love in too many faces. Searching their eyes. Looking for traces of what I'm dreaming of. Hoping to find a friend and a lover.
G. Scott here with former Seahawks Cliff Averill and Doug Baldwin.
I heard you guys are having a celebrity pickleball tournament to raise money for nourishing champions. Why pickleball?
Pickleball is obviously it's a growing sport, but also just the community in Seattle, they've already welcomed it. The beautiful thing about this model is that we will actually be playing with community.
You know, we're excited about this pickleball tournament. It's all about bringing families together, but also, you know, you get to come out there and compete against myself, Doug, Michael Bennett, and we are the most competitive people. So regardless of how sorry Doug might be, he will be out there competing like it's the Super Bowl. And again, it's just all about bringing community together and having a great time, but all for a great cause and raising money for these grassroots organizations.
Come out and help me beat Cliff. Help me beat Cliff.
All right, this is going to be fun. Sign up for the Celebrity Pickleball Tournament, open to all skill levels. For details, go to championsofchangefoundation.org/pickleball.
Join the free smoothie party at Tropical Smoothie Cafe on Saturday, June 21st for National Smoothie Day. Tropic Rewards members get a free smoothie with bowl or food purchase. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's a sink at the brink and a drain that's a pain.
DayandNight.net.
Your old water heater, she's starting to peter.
DayandNight.net.
Plumbing emergency? Don't feel trapped. Do the smart thing and get a second opinion. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. I guarantee you, whether Day and Night is your first choice or smart second opinion, we'll work harder than anyone to earn your trust.
DayandNight.net.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
And now, tales of another way. You're making your go-to goulash. Salt, pepper, and paprika. But you spy smoked paprika in the spice rack. And your go-to goulash becomes go-go goulash. Sometimes another way is the better way. Like the new SR 509 Expressway. The alternate route that'll help manage congestion on I-5 and other local roads. Plus, provide better access to SeaTac. Open soon. Free through summer. Learn more at goodtogo509.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Matt Piper. The man police allege killed a Minnesota lawmaker and her husband now faces a slew of charges hours after he was captured in the Minnesota woods.
Investigators say Vance Belger meticulously planned his attack and had a hit list that included 45 elected officials in Minnesota. Acting U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson.
In the early morning hours of June 14th, Belter went to the homes of 4 Minnesota state politicians
with the intent to kill them.
He says one wasn't home, and when Belder saw a police officer at another house, he stayed in his car. Now he faces first-degree murder charges for the deaths of Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband.
And these are punishable by a term of life imprisonment or even death.
He also faces charges for shooting and wounding Senator John Hoffman and his wife. Peter King, CBS News.
In New York City, 2 court officers were slashed inside a courthouse. As CBS's Alan Devlin reports from the scene, the man was taken into custody after running into the lobby and charging at officers with a knife.
I spoke to several people who were inside the courthouse when this attack happened. They say it was absolute chaos through the several floors of the building. 2 officers attacked with that knife, a third one injured. That attack bringing this courthouse to a standstill.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tells ABC that assassinating Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah would end the conflict between the two. CBS's Robert Berger is in Jerusalem with the missile fire now in its 4th day.
Iran fired at least 50 ballistic missiles at Israel this morning, and several were able to evade Israeli air defenses. One missile crashed into a high-rise apartment complex in Petah Tikva, that's a city near Tel Aviv, with deadly consequences. The missile blew out windows and shattered concrete walls in several buildings.
This comes as the G7 meets in Canada. Our Natalie Brand hears from President Trump, who is there.
Looming over the gathering, the conflict between Israel and Iran now in its 4th day.
It's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
At least 6 people have died from flash floods in West Virginia this weekend. Jenna Pickens lives in Wheeling in Ohio County.
This honestly was the greatest tragedy that we've encountered. And, it's totally left us hopeless, I would say.
CBS's Jerika Duncan is at the Sean Diddy Combs trial in New York and says a juror has been dismissed.
Juror number 6 will be excused. There were questions about his candor, inconsistent statements that he made that the judge learned about and basically said that even if you tried to put the genie back in the bottle, in his words, it's too late.
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Could ICE agents be prioritizing big-scale raids in Washington? We'll tell you more about that in just a moment. But first, from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, we are significantly calmer everywhere around the map. Just a little bit of slowing getting in and out of downtown Seattle on northbound I-5. But then as soon as you get past 520, it is a speed limit drive all the way to Everett and from Seattle, from about the West Seattle Bridge all the way down to Tacoma. The northbound 405 drive has officially recovered, I'm going to call that, and the lake bridges are looking clear as a bell. This traffic report brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance. Get whole house cooling and heating from one ultra-efficient new heat pump and save $6,000 and take 18 months to pay. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning. I'm Jillian Raftery. President Donald Trump is directing ICE agents to prioritize raids and deportations in the country's largest liberal-leaning cities. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey says Seattle is presumably on that list.
Seattle is on the list of U.S. cities where ICE plans to deploy special response teams. There are reports ICE has flown in plane loads of equipment, including armored vehicles, for agents to carry out more aggressive raids in our area. On social media, Trump says he wants to deliver the single largest mass deportation program in history, 3,000 arrests every day. We're waiting to see if Seattle is one of the liberal-leaning cities Trump is targeting. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Washington state leaders say they are watching the president's social media posts closely. They say people can protest, but please do it peacefully. He spent 50 years building it and just 6 months watching it fall apart. Martin Seelig, once the king of Seattle's office scene, is losing his downtown portfolio. 19 of his buildings are now in the hands of lenders or outside managers. Last week, a court transferred 9 buildings after he defaulted on a $378 million debt. And last month, he lost the Modern, a sleek 36-story tower in Belltown. That loan was worth about $235 million. Seelig could still win back some of the properties, but experts say that's a long shot in today's office market. A reminder, the 99 tunnel rates go up in about 2 weeks in Seattle. The Washington State Transportation Commission approved a 3% increase last month. The commission's deputy director, Carl C., says they'll go up 5 cents during off-peak and morning hours and by 10 cents during evening peak hours.
During midday, it goes from $1.50 to $1.55. And then that 10-cent increase during the evening peak hours from $2.70 to $2.80.
The new rates take effect on July 1st. Ann V. Farrell was a powerhouse in Seattle's nonprofit world. The 89-year-old's family tells The Times she died Saturday night, surrounded by her relatives. Farrell ran the Seattle Foundation for 20 years and served on the board of many different companies and nonprofits. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. We are going to be partly cloudy, high of 73 degrees, overnight lows in the low 50s. Our next chance for rain is Wednesday with a high of 69, overnight lows of 52 degrees, but we get back to sunny on Thursday. It's 57 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Ursula, I need a redo. Oh, by the way, it is the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Monday, June 16th. Ursula, I need a redo.
Why?
I got to apologize because what I don't want to do is get rid of sweeping statements. And I almost made it to where I could never give a sweeping statement again. I messed up.
You laid an egg on that one.
I apologize.
You were inspired by a listener who texted in right before you said that.
Oh, no. Oh, I wasn't. Oh, I did not. No, that was inspired by me. I got to. You see all that happens? When you take accountability and you don't blame anybody and you don't use whataboutism.
That was just your bad egg.
And by the way, if you weren't listening, what did I say? I said in a sweeping statement that men can love more than one woman and women can't love more than one man. And I take it back. I was wrong. I messed up. All right. Ursula.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. As always, we invite you to join us on our text line, 888-973-5476, 888-973-KIRO. And shout out to all of you watching us on YouTube. How we doing over there?
I got to go check in on them.
Okay.
All right.
We will.
Agree to disagree. Brought to you by Garden Roofing and Gutters. One of these days, we just got to take off the gloves and just really go at it.
All right, let's skip on up to Everett, which is inching closer to building a brand new home for the Aqua Sox, but it's not quite a done deal just yet. So last week, the Everett City Council approved another $4.8 million for the downtown stadium project, basically to pay for design work and the cost of buying up the land, which there are about a dozen local businesses on. They've already spent $2 million on the project. Total price tag, new stadium for the Aqua Sox is supposed to be about $82 million. Now, you're going to have to pay attention to how I break this down because here's where the money comes from. Everett's going to put in about $7.25 million from their budget. The state of Washington's going to give about $7.4 million. That, by the way, comes from the Youth Athletic Field Improvement Fund. More on that later. Snohomish County is giving $5 million. The Aqua Sox and United Soccer Leagues are going to put in about $20 million together. And then $40 million Everett is going to use with municipal bonds to pay for the stadium. And if you know how that works, it's you take out a fat loan, and then you say the revenue coming in from taxes and rent, et cetera, will pay itself off over 20 years. Bottom line, it looks like Everett, Washington, Snohomish County, and with the cost of the bond, including the interest, is going to be about $80 million total. Gee, the only reason they're doing this is because Major League Baseball said we need nicer minor league stadiums. I'm an Aqua Sox fan. I think a lot of folks are. What do you think about taxpayer dollars for a private business?
Love it. And I'll tell you why I love it. I love it, Ursula, because down there in Tacoma, shout out to my good buddy Nick down there with the Tacoma Rainiers down there. It is a beautiful setting, I believe, down there in Tacoma. A lot of folks go to there. It's a good time because Nick is on the ones and twos playing the music there. And I want Everett to have the same thing. So sometimes you invest in something, you build it, they would come, Field of Dreams reference. I love this. And for some reason, You got to understand that Chef puts this at the top of Agree to Disagree because he is always against any taxpayer money on stadiums.
You read right through it. Okay, so the answer to the question would be I actually am in agreement in many ways with you, G, in that even though it is a private business, it is one that has a lot of public interest and a lot of public benefit.
Right.
And it is not unusual for these leagues to say, we need you to improve the stadiums, et cetera, you know, to not just build audience, but also with the idea of bringing, whether it's better players, et cetera. I've only been to 2 Aqua Sox games. Are they still called Aqua Sox?
Yeah.
Okay, so I used to cover Snohomish County, and while I was a reporter there, I actually attended a couple of those games. They seem to be something that the community really loved. You said you've attended there.
Yeah, I love the vibe.
I think that the nearby businesses are good with it. I wish it wouldn't cost so much, but I would still be in favor of, it sounds like a bunch of different organizations are pooling their money.
80% of them public.
Well, Chef,
including them.
Before Chef goes, Ursula, can we at least hear from the person that's down at Cheney Stadium all the time? Nick, can we get your opinion on this?
It's a good idea. I do think, though, that there could be more funding that is spread towards the people that actually have the money rather than just extending it 20 years and just paying more in taxes. But it is a good communal gathering. It's a thing that brings people together, and I think it's good for the future.
Okay, so even if they pay off the bond, Everett's going to have to come up with $3 million every single year, including the interest. It's going to cost $60 million over that 20 years.
That's too much.
I think I'm not out on a limb in saying we refuse to pay for a new key arena for the Sonics. I look at other cities around the country who are having major league franchises, stadiums built at taxpayer expense, also largely paid through bond dollars. And I think this is just the same exact thing. It's just on a smaller scale. I cannot think of any type of investment in a private business that government makes aside from this, right? When have you heard about a city taking out $40 million in bonds to pay for municipal pools and parks and, you know, event centers that generate revenue for the community, but they're community fixtures? You're also kicking out a dozen businesses for the Aqua Sox. And I love the Aqua Sox. I like going to that stadium and that vibe more than the Mariners because it's just, it's low key, it's chill, and the stadium does need some improvements. But I just don't see a moral case for investing this much money in one specific type of business. I mean, they came up with it for...
I didn't do as much research as Chef did,
I know.
so I see that you make some great points, Jeff.
Well, you can just... Emotional arguments, right? It's community. It's for the community. All right, Seattle's love for soccer just kicked its way into the record books, literally.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah, over 1,000 fans on Pier 62 on Sunday broke a Guinness Book of World Records for the largest soccer lesson ever held. The old record was 956 in San Jose 2 years ago.
Right.
Apparently, this is a contest. Gee, what do you think about Guinness Book of World Records? Is it kind of silly at this point? Largest pizza.
So you
biggest
guys,
bubble gum.
You guys are talking about it earlier, and sometimes there are topics that I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to weigh in on this until later on the show. Look, I'm Gen X, y'all. This is before we had more than 3 channels. This is before we had all the great video games. Let me tell you something. Do you know how long I would stare at the Guinness Book of World Records back then? Do you know I'd see the person
book was dog-eared?
The dog-eared, the long fingernails, the tallest person in the world,
longest hair.
the shortest, the longest hair. I know you with me, Ursula.
Yeah, that's about the time I used to read Archie comics too, but that was a long time ago.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, is it still relevant today?
Yes.
When was the last time you picked up a Guinness Book of World Records?
I mean,
never.
I can't remember. But
you remember your childhood.
Okay. How about this? How excited do you think I was when Lumen Field, I think it was CenturyLink at the time, had broke the record for the loudest, right?
Was that during Beast Mode's
Yeah.
thing? Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm still a sucker for Guinness and world records. Sorry. I'm still a sucker for
I think it's
Kung Fu movies too.
I think it's lost its relevance. However, it is fun to throw it in there, and it's a little bragging moment because they're trying to generate interest in World Cup, right? So there's a big thing that is happening or just happened this weekend. Right?
I have no idea what the difference is between Club World Cup.
Yeah, Club World Cup before the World Cup.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of juicing up everybody's interest in it. So I get it, but quite frankly, except for when I was reading Archie comics, Little Lotta and all that. Did you remember those comics?
1978?
I didn't know.
No, that's a little before our time.
In the 70s and 80s, that's about the time I stopped reading the Guinness Book of World Records.
Gee, I was exactly you as a kid. I loved looking at that thing, and I was not tuned in until recently about what a scam this is. So,
is it?
Yeah, any record that matters, right? Whether it's fastest 100 meter or largest mammal on the planet in history, all of that stuff you can look up. Anything that's proprietary, owned by Guinness. For example, most toilet seats broken by the head in 1 minute, that's 46 by the way, is only published in their book. It's not even published online. And so this thing is the most popular book in the entire school library for my son's school. It took him 6 months to get a copy at home. And all of this stuff is to sell their proprietary books with records such as, longest distance keeping a table lifted with your teeth, or farthest milk squirting distance from the eye, because apparently some people shoot milk out their tear ducts. Can you imagine being issued a record for squirting milk out your eye? It's ridiculous. It's basically PR. I mean, it's kind of fun, but why go for it?
Well, Donald from North Everett just texted in and said, 4 friends and I made the world's longest rubber band chain in 1980, I believe. Believe it or not, Guinness said it wasn't worth being in a category. See that? But then someone squirting milk from their eye?
That's so arbitrary. I mean, if you're going to have the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota, you better have the longest rubber band chain on the planet.
Hey, I just want to say, you didn't ask this question, Ursula.
Oh.
What is that one thing that you thought that you could potentially get into the book for? And guess what mine was?
Having the most girlfriends.
What the heck was that? Hold on.
Having the most sweeping statements.
Ursula just laying the hammer down.
Man.
Oh,
no.
You told me about there was a time when you were a bit of a player.
The what?
Yeah, you had the
Take
one-liners.
it
easy.
King of one-liners.
Easy. The one thing that I thought that I could really make it in, and I'm being really serious, there was a point in my life in high school that I could seriously eat McDonald's cheeseburgers, and I could not get full.
Oh, so what was your record?
I mean, I could eat.
You just never stopped?
I've eaten 10 easily, 10.
Wow.
Now Kobayashi and all of them used to do the hot dogs and stuff, and I would see their method of doing it. I'm like, well, maybe I can't do it because I can't do the all soaking the bread in the water, eating the hot dog at the same time. But anyway, man, how did things get so damn personal? Good Lord.
That's a long time ago. You said you were talking about, your teen years, childhood. What did you think when you were reading Guinness Book of World Records?
Oh.
I was going back to that time. I was just channeling you and the spinning belt buckle. Come on.
Back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I wish I was a kid again.
Gee, there is a record. 10 McDonald's cheeseburgers in 2 minutes, 0.4 seconds. Eden Ballard says, I was a part of the world record for largest number of people doing the wave.
Oh, yeah.
While wearing a Snuggie. It was amazing. I am ashamed of the fact that the wave is from here. Gee, do you get up when the wave is going on?
What a party pooper.
You don't?
No,
I do.
I can't remember. The first time I learned, I was like, really? The wave originated here?
Yes.
No. I've never done the wave.
You've never done it? Not even once?
Probably have once, but I refuse to do it.
When you were trying to impress the lady?
Do the wave.
It is so cheesy. It is so corny.
By the third time around, it starts petering out. And he's like that over-involved guy that's the only person in the section standing up.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Hey, 206 said having the most girlfriends, that's diabolical. did G dirty.
And Glenn in Atlanta says, dang, Ursula, that hurt my feelings. And I'm not even G. G, okay. You know, if I'm wrong, I will say I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
Nah, stay with it. That wouldn't be more fun. Stay with it.
Ursula, there's no slut shaming on the Gee and Ursula Show. Okay. Events for dads. I thought this was pretty interesting. Ran across this that Fats Chicken and Waffles in the Central District is now hosting Don't Tell Mom. It's a monthly happy hour meetup just for dads and their kids, a way for fellas to get together, network, connect. Men are not that great at making friends these days. But I found the premise of the meetup to be a little bit interesting. Don't tell mom. I've probably said that a few times to my child. Ursula, what do you think about one parent telling their kid to keep a secret from the other parent? And I don't mean what you got her for her birthday.
I was going to say, if it's something like you got something or it's going to be a surprise party or gift, I'd be okay with it. I don't think you should get into the habit of, oh, let's keep this out, away from mom, as if you guys are not on the same team as parents. Because I think that's a lot of times in a relationship, one parent wants to be the good time Charlie, and then the other one is the discipline.
Good time
person.
Charlie. Oh my gosh, that was like an Archie reference.
Good time Charlie or Sarah, whatever, wants to be the one that always the one that's always being friends with the kid instead of being the parent.
Yeah.
And so I would say that if you're in the habit of doing that and keeping secrets from the other parent, I'm not cool with that.
Yeah, same.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I don't think that's never a good idea. Never.
Really?
You're setting yourself up for failure. Yep. Hey, don't tell your mom.
Yeah. What are you telling your kids about that too? Again, unless it's for something good.
Yeah, like, hey, we stopped for ice cream on the way home. Don't tell mom, okay? I'm going to get busted. This doesn't work before the age of 5, by the way. They will march right in the dang house and be like, Mom, we had ice cream. Hey. I think that's all right. Watch the end of the baseball game. Hey, don't tell mom. I'm letting you stay up a little bit late tonight.
Good stuff. Well, we're having a great time. I'm looking forward to the 11:30. Wait, as a matter of fact, are we still talking about that? Remember, you brought up on the show, Chef, that there's 3 things that a woman could say or ask of a man? Mm-hmm. Those 3 questions?
The 3 questions you have to ask on a first date to determine a man's character.
Did you want to
definitively?
Ursula, you liked it. I liked it.
I loved it. Now, you and I are so far away from dating, so we're going to have to lean on our folks who are in the dating scene right now, if you would agree. So, yeah, make sure you listen, because we need to get your feedback on this.
All right. We'll do that next. Gee Ursula.
This hour is brought to you by DUI Heroes. As the nation's biggest news story makes its way to right here at home.
Anti-ICE protesters turned violent in downtown Seattle.
Trust KIRO News Radio.
Team coverage begins with KIRO News Radio's Gwen Baumgartner.
Watching people graffiti the side of the federal building.
It's why local news and experience matter.
Now to my colleague James Lynch.
I've never seen that large of a contingent of Seattle police officers, an extreme show of force.
KIRO News Radio. Local news coverage you can depend on.
Now that summer is just about here, our family is gearing up for some big road trips in our Subaru Outback. It is the car that we love to use on road trips because it is reliable, it is comfortable, it drives well, and it's just all around perfect for our family. We bought our Subaru Outback from Carter Subaru back in 2016. You know that I like to drive our cars until they just can't drive anymore. So we figured we're going to be driving that one for a long time. But that is actually the second car that we bought from Carter Subaru. My mother-in-law also bought her Subaru Forester from Carter Subaru. Why? Because they are a dealership that you can trust. And at Carter Subaru, your drive always begins with savings. Right now, you can get the 2025 Crosstrek with 2.9% APR for 48 months. Shop with a Carter Subaru Advantage and enjoy valet parking at Carter Subaru's Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 6/30/25.
Hey, it's Dave Ross with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar this Wednesday night at 6 to explain how stem cell therapy works.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And remind us which joints you've seen the best success with.
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner's performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures, so if you're in pain, join him this Wednesday night at 6 o'clock for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Need a new roof, a deck, siding, windows? Get up to $3,000 off any new installation. Hi, it's Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Home projects can add up fast, but we're here to help you save big. Book now and lock in up to $3,000 off in savings. That's $3,000 off any new installation. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate today. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
At Clear Choice Dental Implant Centers, we get that your teeth, your budget, and your story are all unique to you, which is why our experts who specialize in dental implants will build a custom solution around each patient's needs. With personalized treatment plans and third-party financing options, we'll help you get your new teeth on your terms. Visit clearchoice.com or call 888-SMILE-05 to schedule your free consultation today and let us help Seattle start smiling again.
Office is owned by Dr. Alfonso Pinheiro.
Guys, it's Men's Health Month at Revive Seattle. Get a free comprehensive wellness panel. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, heart health, and more. Valued at $400. Offer ends June 30th. Call 206-529-1111 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Jillian Raftery. Israel warned hundreds of thousands of people in the middle of Iran's capital to evacuate. Then a state-run TV station took a direct hit during a live feed. Here's CBS correspondent Natalie Brand.
An Iranian missile attack overnight damaged a synagogue in central Israel and a school building. Residential buildings were also hit. The U.S. consulate suffered minor damage and remains closed as a precaution. In Iran, thousands are fleeing Tehran. The health ministry reports more than 200 killed in Israeli military strikes so far. Before leaving for Canada, President Trump expressed hope for de-escalation.
Now Israel says it has complete control of the skies over Tehran. Investigators say a man accused of killing a Minnesota state lawmaker and his wife had a list of dozens of elected leaders and activists. Vance Belter was arrested after a 2-day manhunt.
Will we see the death penalty? It's too early to tell. That is one of the options for several of the charges, though.
Prosecutors say Belter injured another lawmaker and his wife. They are expected to survive. While Congress proposes significant cuts to federal spending, do most Americans agree?
A new poll from the Associated Press Nork Center for Public Affairs Research found that most Americans actually think programs like Medicaid and food stamps are underfunded. The survey also showed they broadly support increasing or maintaining existing levels of the money allotted for popular safety net programs, including Social Security and Medicare. Most U.S. adults do think the government is spending too much on foreign aid. As far as spending for the military and border security, that's where people were more divided. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
Washington's latest carbon auction brought in big money, but also fresh debate. The Center Square reports the state earned $322 million in the June auction, but critics say that the Department of Ecology isn't being clear about the impact on gas prices. The latest auction price jumped to over $58 per allowance. Some experts say that adds about 46 cents to a gallon of gas. Ecology says there's no direct link, but critics argue the state's own advisors once said otherwise. According to AAA, the average cost of a gallon of gas is $4.59 in Seattle. The national average is $3.14. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, we are looking like pretty much almost a speed limit drive almost anywhere you go. There is a little snag getting in and out of downtown Seattle on I-5. That's pretty typical. I-5 northbound just south of Seneca Street, there's a disabled vehicle blocking the left lane, contributing to that, but that's only going to set you behind about 3 or 4 minutes. 405 northbound, a little slowing through the S-curves, but nothing atypical. And then it's free and clear all the way up into Bothell. And Tacoma's looking great. A little bit of slowing around JBLM on I-5 southbound. Again, just a few minutes behind. This report brought to you by the Seattle Sports. Don't download the Seattle Sports app to stay in the know with the latest news, scores, and opinions about your favorite teams. Weather brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. We are going to warm up to 73 degrees today in Seattle, partly cloudy. Tomorrow, clouds start to move in, a high of 71 degrees, and we're in the low 50s overnight. It's 57 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Monday to all of you. Text us on our KIRO News Radio text line, 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. This is a participation segment. Okay, you and I are out of the dating scene, but let's say we were still in the dating scene. This is how we're going to be answering these questions, because the topic in Vice was that, are you dating a man-child? Vice believes they have published the 3 definitive questions that women need to ask men they are dating to determine their maturity and character. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you these questions, but I think this goes for men or women when you're dating somebody. I think this is valid.
Right.
How do you deal with tough moments?
I'm going to answer all these questions as if I'm in my 20s.
Okay.
Fair?
Yes.
Okay. How do I handle and deal with tough moments? I ignore and run from them.
I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your honesty.
In my 20s?
Yes.
I ignore and run from them.
How did that work for you?
This is how it worked, is that no matter where you run from those moments, you're still going to have to fight the beast, because a lot of the beasts and a lot of the problems are within yourself. So you go from city, or you go to this town or this place or this neighborhood, and you find out some of the same situations are happening to you again. And you find out that that stuff lives inside of you.
Yes.
It's like they say, it's coming from inside the house. All right, well, go ahead.
So I would answer, how do you deal with tough moments? I mean, oftentimes I am a glass half full kind of gal. I think in my 20s, I was definitely, while I was still dating, I always tended to believe the best in people and always tried to be a peacemaker. So how do you deal with tough moments? I would say I deal with them head on, but I always through conversation, trying to work through. I wouldn't ignore the problem. Okay, so what does self-care mean to you? Again, if you're dating right now, what does self-care mean to you?
Get my hair cut once a week. That was myself. Oh, and I was getting pedicures back in my 20s. So remember, y'all, I am answering this as if I'm in my 20s.
Okay.
But haircut once a week, trimmed up.
What does self-care mean to you? That would be the amount of time I would spend getting ready. I spent way too much time getting ready in the morning or getting ready for whatever it was, going out. I mean, the curling irons, that kind of thing. So I'd never thought of it. I mean, the question today really is whether someone can take care of themselves or expect a partner to play nurse or therapist or their mother. I mean, that's the idea now. The idea of self-care meaning getting therapy never would have crossed my mind.
Never.
In my 20s.
As a matter of fact, let me answer something about therapy in my 20s. You know what I would have said? Black folks don't go to therapy.
Oh,
that's what I would have said in my 20s.
I would have said, I feel like I don't need therapy.
Yeah.
And I personally actually think everybody needs therapy. And that said, if I have to be honest, I have yet to go. Oh, I have used a therapist one time professionally. Yeah. Okay, and then the last question is, what are you most proud of, and how did you make that happen? Again, go back to your 20s. What are you most proud of?
At that time, I was most proud that in the schools, my military school's 110-year history, I was the first black battalion commander.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, it was a huge accomplishment. It was something that really set the trajectory of my life. That was when I thought I can do anything. So by my 20s and all that kind of stuff, I'd gone to military school, gone to college and all that. I was excited about that. But don't ask me much more of what I was proud of, because everything just went downhill after a while.
Oh, no.
By the way, if you see G in his 20s, listen, ladies, don't date him. Don't date him.
Maybe for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I would have answered, what are you most proud of? That I worked 3 to 4 jobs sometimes to pay my way through college at the time and to live on my own. And that I had goals of becoming a journalist, and it actually came to fruition.
Yeah.
And I moved here at the age of 23 and started working at KIRO.
Come on.
Yeah. Okay, but what do you think of those 3 questions, though? Do you think those are legit when it comes to?
I think that they are phenomenal. I think that those questions are legit, and they are good ones. Seriously. And I got a sweeping statement. Here you go, Ursula. Here we go. I don't think men really start to become mature, because we're slower than women. We don't even start to head that way until towards maturity until at least after 30 years old. And I'm being nice with that. I'm being nice, because I didn't mature. I didn't start to probably 37. Like for real, start to really mature. Men are much slower than women. So sometimes
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Oh, you like that
necessarily.
serious statement? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, generally. Okay, so here are a couple of other questions that you can ask for women, whether you're dating daddies. Wait, what's that?
Oh, I just thought it was a little sexist, the man-child thing, so I think we had to come up with an alternate list.
Yeah, so here's an alternate list. Do you want me to read it or not? Okay.
Yeah.
So I love this. It's not personal or anything. When was the last time you really had to own up to a mistake? Like you see if, I think, again, these can go both ways. This is a great question. That's a great interview question for a job interview. When was the last time you had to own up to a mistake?
In the 10 o'clock hour when I made a sweeping statement that was awful.
You laid an egg.
I laid an egg on that one.
And I had to make an apology for suggesting that you could have made the Guinness Book of World Records with the number of women you dated.
Hey, like my man, somebody said that was diabolical.
That was diabolical. What is something you're working on improving about yourself right now? I love that one too.
That is a very good one. Mine is health. Like really focus and concentrating on that. But that's a good one. How about you, Ursula?
Mine is always trying to keep an open mind.
Ooh.
Trying to learn something new. You know, yeah, I might be turning 60, but you can teach an old dog new tricks.
By the way, that sweeping statement that I made about men, I take it back. Let me go harder.
Oh, please.
I don't think men start to really mature until we're 40.
I think it all
plus.
depends. I have two young men in my life.
There's outliers. Oh, by the way, your oldest is an outlier. Your oldest is come on now, Ursula. Are you kidding me?
This is true.
You think when I was at 27, 26 was talking like him? Oh my gosh. No.
You could be onto something.
Yeah, you got some different kids. Like, they are way more mature than me. Chef, when did you start maturing, bruh?
What's maturing?
Nick, how old was you, man?
It had to have been just recently. I feel like I'm turning the page, you know? I just hit 30, so we're changing chapters.
Do you still enjoy a nice big bowl of cereal, Chef?
Do I eat? What is that? What? Bowl of cereal?
Yeah.
Yeah, from time to time.
Yeah,
It's got to be in a mixing bowl, though, you know?
All right. Hey, coming up next, your text messages, feedback, and then we'll have Ursula's words to live by. Gee Ursula.
KIRO News Radio is right there with you.
A big story developing this morning.
On your smart speaker before you head out the door.
Get the latest live from KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey.
Huge impacts for Boeing and Boeing workers.
The office, the gym, anywhere.
Water, like taxes, goes all the way down to the bottom, so it'll either come out of the employee's paycheck or the lack of raise.
KIRO News Radio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
As we age, it gets a little bit harder and harder to do certain things, like even getting into your bathtub. You have an old tub, that is a slip and a disaster waiting to happen. And right now, a lot of people are doing those tub to shower conversions. And I got to tell you, call Bathfitter if you are thinking about it, because Bathfitter will be able to convert your bathtub into a walk-in shower, custom fit, installed in just one day. But get this. They'll back it with a lifetime warranty. No mess, no demo. You will just end up with a safer, better bathroom. And Bathfitter's quality is truly unmatched. They use the very best materials. They take laser precise measurements. And what that means for you is you are going to end up with a bath that is built to last. They have more than 40 years experience and more than 2 million happy customers, including me. Call Bathfitter today or visit bathfitterwnw.com to schedule your free consultation. And right now, you can take advantage of 0% interest for 24 months.
Hi, it's John Curley. Longevity Medical Clinic is your best plan for long-term well-being and personalized health care. Dr. Mixon, let me ask you a question. How long have some of your patients been working with you?
We've got patients now that have been with us for over 20 years that are in their 90s who came to us in their 60s. The grandparents now in their 90s are living independently. They're not on walkers. They're not on canes. They're not headed for nursing homes.
I meet people and they ask about, wow, you're in great shape. You have 12% body fat and stuff. What's the secret? I said, it's not a secret. Longevity Medical Clinic has been there for 25 years. There is no secret to the fact that if you make those small changes, you avoid the big, bad, horrible stuff that most of us just think, well, this is what's supposed to happen happen to me.
And if you're heading downhill and you don't change your direction, you're going to continue going downhill. And what we do at Longevity is we redirect you and we take you back up the hill.
So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
It started as a puddle.
Where?
In the shower.
Uh-oh.
Then the kitchen sink.
Started backing up?
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
Clogged up.
Right. No problem.
Beg your pardon?
There's no clog we can't clear.
You're Dan.
From Apollo Plumbing.
This is going to get pricey.
How about $83?
To clear my drain?
Apollo Plumbing clears main drains every day.
For $83?
83 or it's free.
What's the catch?
No catch. We'll even do a camera inspection.
Why's that?
It's the best way to find the cause of your clog.
And it's included?
No extra charge. Truth is, we hate clogs.
I don't love them.
Seen them all.
Ew.
I promise. There's no clog Apollo can't clear.
Guaranteed.
83 or free.
Goodbye, slow drains.
All it takes is an accessible clean out.
And Apollo gets my drains draining again.
You call, we come, it's fixed.
My heroes.
Just doing our job.
Thank you, Apollo Plumbing.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
There are 5 things money can do for you: growth, liquidity, cash flow, protection, and tax advantages. Don't miss an opportunity because your current retirement plan only focuses on 2 or 3 of them. Hi, Jeff here with Madrona Financial and CPAs. Don't settle for a partial plan. Get the real deal by requesting your no-cost Madrona analysis today and discover what you may be missing. Call 833-673-7373 right now to request your analysis. That's 833-673-7373.
Hey guys, it's Keith Dashafi from Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington, and we are not done celebrating 100 years of industry leadership. For a limited time, get $100 off every window, $100 off every door, or choose 60 months of 0% financing with no interest and equal payments. That's right, 100 years strong, and we're giving you more ways to save on the Pella difference. Schedule your free consultation today at PellaPNW.com. Thank you again for letting us serve you in the Northwest.
When the heat's an 11, cool AC would be heaven.
DayandNight.net. Beat the rush.
Act now before summer, because that heat's a real bummer.
DayandNight.net.
This is the time to plan ahead, so you stay cool this summer. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Call us about installing a high-efficiency cooling system or servicing your existing one so you're cool when you need it.
Get 10% off an air conditioner or heat pump. Call for details.
DayandNight.net.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
Wait, if I work today, why should I have to wait 2 weeks to get my money? With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Available in select states. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
It's Gee and Ursula, everybody. It's now time to go to these good old text messages and all that kind of good stuff. And Ursula, of course, trusts me to have my news boss open. So we'll start off with me saying that he will not be on the wrong side of history. One listener responded, "How do you know you're on the right side of history?" And Hitler and Stalin thought that they were on the right side. You're absolutely right about one thing. Hitler, Stalin, Napoleon, they did believe that they were on the right side of history. Is that a response?
Yeah, so that was a response that actually Chef sent to this particular listener. So, and we wanted to explain. I thought it was actually a brilliant response.
Okay.
So the problem, so when you say you're on the right side of history, the phrase gets thrown around like a moral force field, but history does not hand out gold stars just because you think you're righteous. What does it mean? In modern use, being on the right side of history means your actions push humanity forward toward more freedom, more justice, more dignity, more life, not slaughter and oppression. It means you leave the world better than you found it with fewer people in chains or in graves. Did the Aryan Brotherhood think they were right? Of course. Did Stalin think he was right when he starved millions? Absolutely. But history, not just historians, but the living moral consensus now judges those regimes by what they actually did to real people. That is the bar. So yes, we're all part of history, but the right side is a shorthand for acts that protect human life, expand rights, and honor basic decency, not for cliches, but for the simple idea that mass murder and tyranny have no moral justification, no matter how grand the speeches.
Gotcha.
Okay, on the topic of cancer, and I mentioned during our discussion, I said, I wish we would just have a cure. I know that so many treatments are so much better today, but I wish we could cure all cancer. Mike in Portland, who is actually a researcher, says, to address your point, Ursula, about needing a cure, he says, I actually work with CAR T cell therapy for non-solid cancers like leukemia. In our field, this treatment is truly a 100% cure. But here's the catch. We only step in after everything else has failed, including chemo, radiation, and bone marrow transplants. We are the firewall, the last line of defense. And the real problem is the cost. Each CAR T case runs about $1.4 to $1.7 million. That is the reason not everyone gets cured. It's not the science, it's the price tag. Wow.
That last line really got me, Mike. Scenarios. My husband had a fiance who died a month before we met. I never knew. Colleen in Centralia says, widow here. I will probably always think about, love, and even talk to my late husband. But that doesn't mean I'm not healed or that I'm incapable of loving someone new. But he absolutely should have told her about his fiance. In this case, therapy is definitely warranted.
Regarding the Guinness Book of World Records and whether it's still relevant, Bernie in Squim says the guy with the longest eyebrow hair lives in Port Townsend. His wife is really proud.
When do men mature? Nick in Paulsbo says, I didn't start to mature until I was 40. But at the same time, men also regress back to being huge 12-year-olds at the same time. My kids are grown and gone, so now it's time to have fun. All right, Ursula. Well, you want to
Nope. Yeah, I've got some words to live by.
Let's get it. Words to live by, Ursula. What you got for us?
On a day like today, when we had some impassioned speeches, some things got people upset.
Yeah.
Just a reminder that this is from Mother Teresa. If you have no peace, it is because you have forgotten that you belong to each other. We do belong to each other. Just need to do better for each other.
We belong to each other. Just need to do better for each other. It's a good one.
And you can think of that in any way. Like every day I just tell myself I can do better. I can do better than I did yesterday. Tomorrow's a new day.
That's a good one. All right, let's check in with my main man, Nick.
Well,
Nick?
with some heavy hitters laid out on the show today, I'll give a little levity to send you on your way. So here's to summer just around the corner in these parts where G would set the record for most girlfriends like an art.
Summer day.
But it's cheeseburgers, I'm told, is what he tried to eat the most. And even with the pro tips heard, he didn't even come that close. So maybe better luck with the ladies next time if you're testing the old Guinness book out. How about that?
So Ursula, I think I told you this story before. There was a summer school class that I had to go to. And the night before, I ate 15 White Castle's burgers. If you're from the Midwest and you know about White Castles, if you know, you know. Anyways.
Ain't those things tiny?
Yes. I ate 15 of them. Ursula, let me tell you something. When I got to that summer school class that next day,
your stomach was growling.
Is
it another
that
one of those
where
meatballs?
your fear came from?
Wait, yo, I had to, you know what I mean? I didn't go back to class. I left. I had to leave. I couldn't stay there no more. So
meatball.
All right, good stuff. Ursula, can you curate the show to where we can, like, the first half of today was rough. So what could you do for us tomorrow? Can you curate it a certain type of way?
We're going to try. Yeah. We're going to try to cut our rough by about half. How's that?
Sometimes
some people thought the rough that you're referring to was fantastic. So this is where we're at.
Yeah.
To be honest, man, a lot happens between Friday and Monday.
This is true.
A lot. Or in my case, Wednesday to Monday.
This is true.
So at least, hopefully we have some peace.
Yep. And just remember, we can just do better by each other.
Do better by each other. All right. The Jake and Spike Show, they're coming in next. Thanks, Ursula, for all you do. Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Brother Nick.
You too.
We appreciate you for listening. Love you for that. And as always, be kind.
Hope you have as much fun as we have. So long, everybody.
KIRO Newsradio, the Northwest's trusted news source.
Get the latest from KIRO Newsradio's James Lynch.
It happened Wednesday morning just after 6 o'clock.
Experienced voices you trust.
Several people hurt after a violent Saturday in Pierce County.
Coverage you depend on.
More from KIRO Newsradio's Matt Markovich.
It's as close to a veto warning as you could possibly get.
KIRO Newsradio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
Now that summer is here, our family's gearing up for some big road trips in our Subaru Outback. We bought our Outback from Carter Subaru, where your drive always begins with savings. And right now, you can get the 2025 Crosstrek with 2.9% APR for 48 months. Shop with the Carter Subaru Advantage and enjoy valet parking at Carter Subaru's Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 6/30/25.
Kick off your 4th of July weekend with the Mariners fireworks show at Seattle's summer home, T-Mobile Park. It's a Mariners patriotic party. Thursday, July 3rd, presented by T-Mobile.
Fly ball right field. Sailing back. Gone! Legend Cal Raleigh.
Catch Cal and the crew take on the Royals at 7:10. Then stick around as the sky explodes with red, white, and boom. Fireworks and Mariners baseball. That's 2 spectacular shows in one unforgettable night.
J.P. Crawford with a walk-off single. Holy smokes, what a finish.
Lock in your seats now at mariners.com/fireworks and check out the full fireworks lineup this summer, including an 80s night on July 18th and Show Tunes theme on August 1st. Plus, don't miss big-time giveaways like patriotic trucker hats on July 4th and J.P. Crawford basketball jerseys on July 5th. Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
What burning questions do you have? You can help drive the conversation by going to mynorthwest.com or text Choke Points to 888-973-5476.
Tuesdays and Thursdays on Seattle's Morning News.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask